Crimson Tide is the top seed, wearing the home uniforms. Underdogs tonight, as they were in Atlanta. Georgia favored by about a field goal. Nick Saban seeking his 8th national championship. It's a record, his 7th at Alabama. Adapted and tailored his coaching style to build confidence and leadership in this young team. Maybe his best job ever, many think. One of his best quarterbacks ever, that's for sure.
His quarterback plays his best when the lights are the brightest, and that's what they're going to be tonight.
Georgia, bitter taste from that latest loss to Alabama. Is this their night to send off a celebration down to the Peach State? They waited since the Herschel Walker era to raise the ultimate trophy. It's electric inside Lucas Oil Stadium tonight, and here come the Crimson Tide. Never seen anything like it in the sport. The dominance that Alabama has put on display. Can Kirby Smart and this group of Bulldogs be the team to prevent another trophy?
Looking into Kirby's face there, man. You work all this time for this moment.
But these dogs believe. It's been a question. Is Alabama in their heads? Kirby Smart knows everything about Nick Saban. Hasn't figured out how to beat him yet. The obstacle course. There's Kirby, and he's accomplished a lot. Gotten past the rival Florida. He's won the SEC East 4 times. Has an SEC title. He's beaten Notre Dame, Oklahoma, and Michigan in playoff games. Beat Clemson in the opener, but look out! Didn't see Alabama coming that time. How could you not? Saban losing just once to former assistants and never lost to a former assistant from his Alabama staff. Jimbo Fisher and A&M giving the Tide their one loss this year, and that just made Alabama re-energized, refocused.
No doubt about that. Being around these two teams, I don't know if there is an edge emotionally after the way they played in Atlanta, where it was clear Bama had the edge, being that underdog.
Georgia bringing out some big people. Sawyer and Jordan Davis for the coin toss. It's an ACC crew in charge of this championship game, and Dwayne Haight is the referee.
Georgia, Alabama, congratulations on your great seasons, and welcome to the 2022 College Football Playoff National Championship. My name is Dwayne Haight, and this is Johnny Fort of the ACC. We're honored to be here today. Georgia, you've been designated to call today's coin toss. We have a special coin today. On one side is the College Football Playoff logo. That side will be heads. And on the other side is Lucas Oil Stadium. That side will be tails. Georgia, heads or tails, what is your selection? Tails is called. It is tails. Georgia, you've won the coin toss. Georgia has won the coin toss and has elected to defer their option to the second half. Alabama, you want to receive. Which way would you like to kick? It's turn. Which back's to here? Your back's to here.
So the Dogs trust their defense, and they'll put the football in the hands of Bryce Young. Great to have Holly Rowe and Molly McGrath on the sidelines. Holly's on the Bama side with Nick Saban.
Coach Saban, you said that after all these years, you get a good feeling about your team after you watch warm-ups that lets you know how the game will go. What did you see tonight?
Well, we warmed up great, but, this is an opportunity for our team to gain respect. They've shown a lot of competitive character all year to get here, and it's just great that they have the opportunity to play in a game like this against a great team like Georgia.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go to Molly.
Coach, your defense has heard for a month about how they couldn't sack quarterback Bryce Young. Why will tonight be different?
We practice really hard at it. That's what's going to make it different. We're going to be aggressive. We got to get off the field on third down so we can stay fresh.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Chris, Herbie, back to you.
I'll tell you, there's so much history, there's so much psychology, so many subplots. Let's hope we get one that was like the one 4 years ago in Atlanta, partner. We'll take that.
I'll tell you what, man, we've been calling these national championships for a lot of years. I don't know if I've ever felt this kind of energy in a building leading up to the opening kickoff as I'm feeling right now.
Really? Even bigger than Atlanta?
Yeah, this is intense. These two teams have different agendas and different motivations to get them ready to try to win this game. You see Nakobe Dean's face from Georgia when he was out there for that coin toss?
All business.
All business on both sides.
Butkus Award winner be out there momentarily. Jake Camarda handles the punting, holding, and the kickoff duties. JoJo Earl, true freshman for Alabama, awaits at the goal line. It's a high kick, and Earl will wave for a fair catch. Here comes Bryce Young. Look at those numbers. 46 and 5. Can they pressure him? Can they get him to the ground? They couldn't do it in Atlanta.
No, and it's amazing to think. First quarterback to win a Heisman Trophy in Alabama school history. Replacing Mac Jones, who had a great year last year, is off to the NFL. And we've seen Bryce Young take that baton this year and continue to play outstanding football for this offense. And Bill O'Brien is the new offensive coordinator this year.
Brian Robinson, 1,200-yard rusher. And waited patiently for this chance to the quarterback's right. And he's got the football running left, and Nakobe Dean meets him, but it's a solid 5-yard gain on first down.
Remember the battle at the line of scrimmage in round 1 in the SEC championship game went to Bama, which was a surprise. The strength of Georgia is their front 7 that's had mostly dominating performances.
Georgia wasn't set. Robinson, the pitch on the edge, cuts it back, but they swarm him and stop him a couple yards short of the marker. Quay Walker on the tackle.
Yeah, that's something that Bama did round 1. A lot of tempo, not just to be aggressive with the play calling, but to try to get this talented Georgia defense on its heels, not allowing them to get their cleats set and being able to attack. Here's an early third down.
Since midseason, Bama's offense has been the #1 third down offense in Power 5. Bulldogs do bring some pressure. The ball is caught by Slade Bolden, who's got a first down, forced out of bounds on the far sideline by William Poole.
And they've done this all year where they blitzed their linebackers. Round 1, Bama picked it up. Brian Robinson does a nice job. Once you get it picked up, you have an opportunity to win the one-on-one matchups. Bolden, a veteran receiver against William Poole, is a win for Bama as far as the matchup. And Bryce Young, with the time, makes an accurate throw.
Bolden, a habit of making these catches that earn first downs. Did it 3 times in Atlanta. Young, and they get him to the ground finally. Big Jordan Davis, 350 pounds. The ball comes out. It's Dean running for the end zone. And they signal a touchdown. Didn't get blown dead. Not just a sack, but the big man in the middle forces the takeaway if it stands.
Yeah, I think Bryce Young tried to throw the ball to get rid of it. Shocking that the play stayed alive, but you're right, relentless effort from Jordan Davis to come up with this sack.
They'll review it, of course. Davis wasn't sure. He didn't think the ball had come out. Nakobe Dean was alert.
Watch Davis over the center. The young center, McLaughlin, gets around him and shows you what kind of quickness he has. You could see that Bryce Young, I think he felt the pressure and he just kind of threw it. Just almost like he threw it down because he didn't want to take a sack. See how he kind of brings it down? Jordan Davis clamped onto his right arm. They're going to take a look at this to see if it's an incompletion or a fumble, but Nakobe Dean heads up, takes it into the end zone to be sure.
Let's go to our expert in the booth. Bill, what do you see there? And what do you believe that Peter Voss, the ACC replay official, is looking at?
I see control of the ball and his hand goes forward. He's trying to pass it. Now the hit impacted the throw, but I have him putting the ball forward.
Absolutely crucial review here. See if it stands, or they take the points off the board here. Another look.
Chris, I want to show you something because I want you to watch 95 Wyatt, who looked like his head was offsides, which would have negated the play completely. It would have been a free play and a 5-yard penalty. He gets away with it. There's a no call on the field, so the play is live. But if they would have seen Wyatt, boy, he looked like he was offsides to me at the line of scrimmage in his line.
There's the key up part of this replay right here.
Yeah.
Bill feels that he had control of the ball. The arm was moving forward when it came out of his hands.
There's Jamison Williams right there. Right there where the ball went down.
So much focus in this game. Could they get to Bryce Young, get him to the ground? He's so elusive in the pocket, so effective on the run.
Yeah.
Right away, they're coming after him.
Yeah, I mean, and instead of the blitz getting there, it's a 360-pound nose guard, Jordan Davis, that gets there. When he is fresh, he is incredibly quick.
Here's the verdict.
After further review, the quarterback's hand was moving forward for an incomplete pass. Second down.
So relief, and the review takes Dean's scoop and score off the board.
How about the heads-up play? Sometimes you see the touchdown passes by Bryce Young, right? We see all the plays, the Heisman Trophy performances. Don't forget the heads-up play early in this game by Bryce Young as he felt the pressure by a 360-pound defensive lineman. Instead of just giving up on it, fumbling, brings the arm forward, trying to throw it to the feet of Jamison Williams.
Yeah, the guy who had him in his grasp has about 175 pounds on him, maybe. And Davis, when he gets a hold of you, you don't get away. Didn't have a single missed tackle all season. So 2nd and 10 after all that drama. Georgia fans still unhappy with the reversal. On the edge, Jamison Williams gets a couple of blocks and tries to hurdle a defender. He couldn't get over Darian Kendrick, who shoves him out of bounds, but it's a first down to the Dogs 45.
Yeah, Bryce Young has a chance to hand this off, or if he's got numbers out to the outside, he takes it. They motion Latu, the tight end. He takes it and goes up and over, but he does pick up the first down.
And the Tide using tempo, play action, sidearm pitch as Young tried to get the ball to Cameron Latu, the tight end coming across. The Dogs defense, that front seven, best in the country.
Best in the country, strength of the defense, led by 17, Nakobe Dean. Quay Walker's had an outstanding year in the back end. That's the question. How will the safeties hold up when they get isolated and they play man-to-man? How will the corners hold up against Jamison Williams?
Second and 10, they bring pressure again. It's picked up, and Latu makes the catch. And the tight end muscles down near the marker. Christopher Smith stopped him about a yard short. It's 3rd down.
You know, whether it's Latu or you look at Billingsley, other receivers today with John Mechie out with the injury in the SEC championship game, others will have to step up and make plays. There's going to be a lot of focus from this Georgia defense on Jamison Williams, and Mechie can only sit and watch and cheer for his team tonight.
Elite receiver, would have had 100 catches, went down with a knee injury in that game in Atlanta. They had to make do without him in the win over Cincinnati, and it turned Williams into more of a possession receiver. 3rd and 1, pitch to Robinson, who fouled it initially. He will make the first down. Tyndall combining with Smith on the stop.
And it goes right at Nakobe Dean, who's very, very good playmaker on 3rd down. Just attacks him, pitches it out, picks up just enough of a block from Billingsley there on the safety, 29, Smith. Smith gets off the block, but by then he was running downhill and picks up enough yards there on 3rd and short.
Slade Bolden in the backfield. Trey Sanders, the running back, motions out far right here. Young, pressure over the middle, and makes a quick decision and finds Bolden for 9.
Yeah, he brought really nice route here. They bring in the linebacker pressure from right here. You're going to bring one receiver here, and then you'll see another quick slant right behind it. 7 clears it, and then right out of the backfield, Bolden, who you talked about, just slid while the linebackers cleared out with Harrod, with Brooks clearing out first to open that up. Nice throwing lane.
Bama sub, so Georgia's big people have a chance to come back in the game on 2nd and 1. Sanders takes the pitch, and he'll fight just to get back near the line of scrimmage. Nolan Smith is there in a hurry.
What a play there by Nolan Smith. He's got to get off of Latu's block. See, he's trying to just kind of seal that edge, and Ford fighting through it. Not only gets off the block, but does a pretty good job of keeping him close, but he got just enough for that first down. Good effort there by Nolan Smith.
11th play of this opening drive for Bama. Empty backfield. Dogs are creeping up.
See Bryce Young, he senses pressure here. Makes the check.
Here he comes. He escapes again. Makes a downfield throw, and it's broken up. Incomplete. Trying to get the ball to Billingsley, and that was William Poole.
Well, you remember I said they blitzed? They showed blitz, and it affected the protection. They show blitz here. They get pressure to the outside, but the tackle has to respect that blitz and come down. When he comes down, it makes it easy for Walker, and all they did was show blitz and back out with Walker.
They went after William Poole a lot in that game at Atlanta. He was targeted frequently. Asked to step in and play a bigger role tonight. Hadn't played much before starting in that game.
The athletic ability and awareness here by Bryce Young gave that play a chance.
Quick throw. Catch made on the edge by Ja'Cory Brooks, and he's spun down inside the 20. It'll be 3rd down and about 5.
Bill O'Brien, we sat down with him yesterday. Every time we sat down with him, he just marvels at Bryce Young and his ability to process for such a young quarterback and his poise that he's played with all year.
Big play early here. Tied in the red zone. Dogs bring pressure again, and the receiver slipped. That was Billingsley, who was open. He was in front of Lewis Seen, lost his footing, and here comes the field goal team.
Right at the top of the route. I don't know if his feet got tangled or he just slipped. See Lewis Seen on him, or Lewis Seen rather is on him, and he just loses his feet. Bill O'Brien thought he had the matchup that he wanted with Billingsley, who's a very talented tight end that really has wide receiver skills. He had him matched up with Seen, a safety.
Bama's got a really consistent kicker last couple of years. Will Reichert, 18 of 23 on the season, and he hammers it right through. So Georgia, which really doesn't give up first quarter touchdowns, stiffens in the red zone. 14-play drive, tied on top. Dogs offense out next.
So at AT&T, everyone gets our best deals.
Two quarterbacks took very different paths here. Stetson Bennett from Southern Georgia, Bryce Young from Southern California. He was offered by everybody, the top overall recruit. Bennett got very few quarterback offers. Came to Georgia as a preferred walk-on there. You see with the glasses. Then went to Jones County Junior College in Mississippi to get some playing time. In his second year, Bryce Young was winning the Heisman Trophy, second year out of high school.
Yeah, Stetson Bennett is just an incredible story. The fact he's standing right where he is, competing to win a national championship against Bryce Young. Bryce Young is a wonderful kid. It's so much fun to listen to him talk, the poise that he plays with. But he went a little bit more the traditional path to Alabama.
And Bennett, for a guy who's listed at 5'11", might be about 5'9", has a lot of swag for a smaller guy, has a tremendous amount of belief in himself. And the performance against Michigan was tremendous.
I mean, again, I think it was back to being Stetson Bennett, Todd Monken as the offensive coordinator. They were running the football. They were hitting quick passes, getting the ball out of his hands, quick, and a lot of yards after the catch. Let's see how they get started here against Alabama.
How much help can they get from the running game? Zamir White, call him Zeus. In the backfield, they fake it to him. Bennett pressured on the rollout, and he's going to be sacked immediately. Christian Harris got there, and it's a big loss.
Christian Harris is assigned to Stetson Bennett back here in case the action comes away. Watch his discipline to stay back off of that. And you're talking about a linebacker who was a corner and a wide receiver in high school. tremendous athletic ability. Bennett can move. He's got wiggle, but Harris makes a heck of a play to start this game for the Crimson Tide defense.
He sure can move. He's been hard to sack.
Yeah.
He's only been sacked 9 times, but 3 of those were in the first meeting against Bama. After the 14-yard loss, Georgia way behind the 6 here.
Prior to the ball being snapped, delay a game, disconcerting signals, defense, number 10 clapping, 5-yard penalty, second down.
And Toto, the transfer from Tennessee, trying to induce a false start, instead draws the penalty himself.
Yeah. It's amazing the referee with his crowd noise can hear that, but you can see him clapping on to your right, middle linebacker Toto right there. Officials on top of it. They immediately jumped in on top of that, and Georgia picks up 5 yards back after that big loss from the sack.
Defensive guys saying, I'm just trying to signal.
Yeah.
If he used the defensive signal caller out there, they say that's not a penalty.
Yeah. Well, you can see he's doing it right now. He's still trying to. He's the kind of the liaison between the sideline to the field.
And it escapes. As open field, just dropped the ball. It bounced right back to him. But a jittery Bennett, very lucky not to lose the ball there.
Well, when Alabama plays man, watch the linebackers immediately where they go. Boom, they're gone. So now Bennett, who told us yesterday, I have to run today. I have to run the football when we drop back to throw because the man-to-man. He tries to do too much at the end, and how fortunate is he that ball bounced right back up into his chest.
Well, each quarterback's had a near turnover so far. Sets up a 3rd and makeable. They need 5. Play clock at 5. Bennett's got to hurry. Did he get it off? Play clock was right at 0, and Kirby did not get the timeout called.
3rd down.
Clearly a lot going through Bennett's head at the moment, Kurt.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think first drive, big sack, way behind the sticks, big scramble, fumble, first 3rd down against a Nick Saban, Pete Goulding defense. Yeah, there's a lot going through his mind right now. So much emotion in this building, so much at stake for both these teams.
Got to get the heart rate down. Flush out some of that adrenaline. Now it's 3rd and 10. Tide brings some pressure. Bennett flushed, thinks about running, and just flips it short. It's incomplete. And Lad McConkey was way short of the marker anyway. And here comes the punt team.
Yeah, big question tonight with Jobe out, one of the starting corners. Armour Davis the other. You see Jackson, who's a junior college transfer this year, very talented player, but new to the scheme. He played last week against Cincinnati when they had some injuries. He's starting tonight. It's a big factor in this game and does a nice job in coverage on McConkey there on that 3rd down.
Camarda is an elite punter. Got an invite to the Senior Bowl. He can be a weapon. And that's an excellent boot. Driving Slade Bolden all the way back inside the 20 where he makes a fair catch. So possession 2 for Bryce Young and the Tide. A long march for a field goal. Back to work. 3-0.
Bell and the proven formula of Gatorade. Greatness starts with G.
Vince Dooley, his Dogs, got a couple of touchdowns from Herschel Walker, won the championship over Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl. And the legend is here, age 89, still very much a part of that Georgia program. Kirby Smart says he sees him around all the time. It's going to take more than 17 to win tonight, though, probably.
Yeah. Field position, big factor in this football game. 55 net there for Georgia with that fair catch.
Young, 5 of 9 of the opening possession to 4 different receivers. And this is Jamison Williams, tracked down behind the line of scrimmage by William Poole and Tyndall.
Alabama on 14 plays, I would say close to half of them have been to the edge. They're clearly trying to attack the edge, the perimeter of this defense, and trying to make those linebackers have to flow to make plays outside.
2nd and 11 across the middle. It's Williams making the catch, and the man who victimized the Dogs with 2 long touchdowns in Atlanta makes a first down.
Now this time the linebacker works to the outside on Robinson. It opens it up one-on-one for Jamison Williams. The catch radius outstanding on the high ball.
15-yard gain and tempo again. Robinson stopped at the line of scrimmage by Smith.
Just to remind people, in that first game, tempo became a factor. It not only helped Alabama create some tempo and some rhythm, it really impacted Georgia and their strength that front. It tired them out. They were fatigued much of the game.
Young again to Bolden, who's got the ball across the 40, short of the marker. The Dogs started running in the morning, and they dedicated themselves to improving their stamina and their fitness after that game. We'll see if it becomes a factor tonight.
You watch that game, I think everybody was shocked to see the Georgia defense that was just mauling everybody. It looked like they had ankle weights on compared to how they'd been normally playing, and it had a lot to do with conversions on 3rd down and tempo. They just couldn't get off the field.
But to that point, that makes this one important. 3rd and 3. Williams in motion. Backpedaling. Young gets it to Bolden, but he's not going to get there. Lewis Seen came flying in, dropped him for a loss, and the Tide go 3 and out.
You're going to bring the linebacker pressure right in the middle here, right to the outside, but Lewis Seen does a great job of following this to the outside, in position, comes up there and makes the tackle on Bolden. Also the pressure. How many times did we see Bryce Young falling back, throwing off of his back foot, fading away in that SEC championship game? You never saw it.
They make 1 first down, and then the Dogs rise up and do get off the field. James Burnett, high boot, and coming up to get the fair catch is Karis Jackson. So we'll see if Stetson Bennett has calmed down a bit from that opening possession. Dogs go back to work, 3-0 Bama.
Are you kidding me?
That's bestpricesc.com.
The College Football Playoff National Championship is presented by AT&T. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, and secure. And in part by Taco Bell. And the proven formula of Gatorade. Greatness starts with G.
Chilly in Indy, 20 degrees with Goodyear providing the aerial coverage. Anything can happen as long as you have the drive. Goodyear, more driven. The Tide drove it 20 yards, but netted 20 fewer yards on the punt. So Georgia again takes over at the 25 for a shaky opening possession. And the ball off to James Cook. One guy that Saban is very wary of as a runner and a pass catcher tonight.
And you see Will Anderson Jr. there getting involved. You know, we were talking at the break there about Georgia. There's been so much build-up in hype about this game. Watch him get off this block. Everybody wants to talk about him as a pass rusher, and I get it. I mean, he's had 17.5 sacks. I mean, what blows you away when you really watch him is how physical he can be and how heavy-handed he is in getting off blocks and being involved in the run game.
Nation's sack leader also does a pretty good job of that, but I get your point. Tough run stopper as well. That's Cook who goes in motion, and Kenny McIntosh takes the handoff, tried to get the edge, but the long arm, Christian Harris got him.
How about Christian Harris? Off to a great start for this Alabama defense. Another guy getting off of the block is Van Pran, who's out there. They're pulling their center and their left guard Schaefer. 163 tries to lock up on Harris. He hits him back, but Harris's awareness and just his heart not giving up on the play. No yards.
3rd and long again. Dogs need 9 to avoid a second 3 and out. Bennett chased again. Trying to create on the run, fires, and no chance. Anderson was chasing him, tried to work the ball back to Jermaine Burton.
He got pressure. Sometimes you don't have to come up with a sack. You just get pressure and are able to work to the inside or outside. You just find a matchup that you can win, and that's what he does. See that? I mean, he doesn't get this sack. He gets around Erickson, but you make the quarterback, Stetson Bennett, now all of a sudden he's got to get to the outside. He only has one receiver out there. He's got nowhere to throw the ball. He just throws it away.
Anderson says it brings him great joy to sack a quarterback. Not quite as joyful to chase him and harass him, but very effective nonetheless.
And that's as impressive on a third down as coming up with any kind of play.
There's Camarda. First boot was 55. This one not quite as long. Fair cut. And there's a flag there. Do they get too close to Bolden and catch interference?
He was tight. Amir's speed, the corner, he was down there right in his face.
44-yard punt. That'll cost
fair
the
catch
Dogs.
Interference. Number 9, kicking team. 15-yard penalty. First down.
It's a simple mental mistake.
Timeout.
But giving Bryce Young 15 yards better field position to begin at the 45, it's a costly one.
We don't follow the herd.
State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.
Wild finish to the regular season last night, and then the playoffs begin next weekend, and see the Peyton Manning statue outside Lucas Oil Monday the 17th. ESPN caps off the first ever Super Wild Card weekend. Monday night playoff game. Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, and Louis Riddick will have the call as Kyler Murray and the Cardinals take on Matthew Stafford and the Rams. NFL prospects in this game: Neal, Williams, Dean, and Walker, all juniors. And Davis, the senior. Former Colt legend is in the house. Penalty gives Bama good field position at the 45. And Young has time, and airmails went into the bench.
Got to wonder what Kirby Smart is thinking in the way this game has started. Last thing he wanted is his defense to get tired again. They've been on the field now 19 snaps in this game in his first quarter. Georgia's offense 2 3 and outs, just 6 plays. That trend has to change for Georgia.
Bill O'Brien calling 14 pass plays, Kirk, over the first 19. Similar to the game plan of the first meeting. Very different what they did against Cincinnati.
And a lot right early here. A lot of quick stuff to the outside.
3 receivers stacked to the right. And Sanders running back to the boundary and hit hard. Slammed down by Quay Walker and Seen.
And Lewis Seen comes up. He's known as a thumper at safety. Gets downhill in a hurry. Watch 16 lower his shoulder. Bang, right there. Gets lower than the ball carrier Sanders. And again, it's a big trend in this game. Another third down for both these teams. Let's see what Young can do.
Need 6. Pressure on the run, the low throw. Exactly what the Dogs want to do. Quay Walker influenced the low throw, and the Dogs get off the field.
You know, Georgia's known as a man-to-man team when they bring pressure, but instead of bringing it, they drop. They end up dropping and playing zone. I think they caught Bryce Young by surprise. The backers settle in. None of the crossers are working. By the time he figures out where he wants to go with the ball, you see the pressure by Trayvon Walker and Quay Walker both getting into him.
Young took a hard hit. Walker knocked it down, then landed on top of him. Burn up. Another high boot. And Jackson another fair catch. Dogs backed up inside the 10. AT&T 5G Skycam zooming around over this field. Todd Monken is an excellent play caller. Has yet to get things in a rhythm, as to get Bennett settled down, has to find a way to run the football.
I was going to say, go back and think. We called the Michigan game in Miami. What was the difference? I don't think they feared Michigan's front, and they did what they do. They run the ball and they play action to Bowers, right? So tonight, do you sense they're a little bit cautious at the line of scrimmage? So you want to put it all on Bennett's back. Why can't Bennett do it? It's more about where's the running game? Why can't they run the ball?
Zamir Wright intercepts into the middle, and a flag comes out late right in the middle of the pit. Yeah, Georgia scored, Kirk, on their first 5 possessions against Michigan. Everything Monken called worked, basically. Because of that edge up front?
Yeah, I mean, they dominated the line of scrimmage. And most of the
Personal
teams
foul.
they played, they've been
Illegal
able to
hands
do
to
that.
the face. Offense, number 54. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
It's the tough physical guard, Justin Schaefer, and then he'll back him up inside the 5 now.
Yeah, right in the middle of your screen, gets his hand up almost in that side of the helmet. The umpire right there, kind of a questionable call. Usually you see that, his hands right on the face mask and pushing his head back. It was just to the side, but it does push Georgia back.
This is big man football.
Oh,
this is nasty stuff down there in the pit.
Yeah, it's not all about the skill when these teams get together. The winner is going to win the line of scrimmage.
First and 14. That's Bowers who comes in motion. And White, who's a physical runner, gets those pads north and south, goes straight ahead out to the 10.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously it's hard to run the ball against this Alabama defense. They're physical up front. Their defensive linemen eat blocks. They free up their linebackers. They're moving. They're slanting. It's tough on the communication of the offensive line. I'm just saying, your DNA is your running game and your play action game. So it's hard to run this offense if you can't get the running game going. This might be a game where you have to hit some quick throws to be able to get back to the run game.
Bennett took a look for Bowers, fires it across the middle, and instead it's another tight end. And then they call Big O, Darnell Washington, and it's the first down for Georgia.
Yeah, he is such a big option. It's 6'7". Give him an option route. Watch him work to the inside on toe-to-toe and then back outside. Good read by the quarterback and a tight end, sensing the leverage to the inside and then work back out to the outside. And there's nothing better for a quarterback who's still trying to find his footing in this game than throwing to a tight end at 6'7".
It goes about 280. 3 tight ends in the ball game now. And they fake it to Bowers. Here's a downfield shot. George Pickens, a diving catch. As the elite receiver has waited a long time to make a play like that in the big game.
Well, he gets matched up against Kool-Aid McKinstry. This is the matchup we wanted to see to the left. He gets inside of him. Safeties are caught up on the crosser, so it's one-on-one. What a throw by Bennett to put it up into the air to give Pickens a chance to get separation and then go get the ball and lay out and then turn his body to protect the ball from hitting the surface.
ACL in the spring. It's been a tough rehab. He hasn't been 100%, but when he is, he's dangerous. And now that's the top receiver for Georgia, the freshman from Napa, Brock Bowers, who muscles down to the 20. Dogs have come to life suddenly.
A big play like that, you can get back again to your bread and butter. What an effort here by Pickens. Not just to catch it, but because he turned his body, he was able to hold on to that football. If he doesn't make that extra effort of spinning and getting that ball on his stomach, that ball probably hits the surface and comes out.
Had just 4 catches for 55 yards. They've been waiting and hoping to get him back. He's got to feel comfortable in that knee and his cutting ability and his speed, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's incredible that he's back out here.
Final minute of the first quarter. And false start up front.
False start. Offense, number 69. 5-yard penalty. First down.
It's the second team All-American left tackle, Jamari Sawyer.
Really, he battled through some injuries, been the most consistent offensive lineman up there, become the leader. It's a little bit early there, trying to reach.
And he's been asked about the losses to Bama, the trouble in the trenches. He says you can't hide from the truth. You just got to change it. Trying to tonight. Clock winding inside of 10 seconds in the quarter now. First and 15. And they hand it off in heavy traffic. They just couldn't move big DJ Dale out of the way, could they?
Dale.
Woo. So Bama gets 3 on their first possession. Dogs trying to answer. End of the first quarter in Indy. Watching the College Football Playoff National Championship game, presented by AT&T.
I'm a fancy exercise bike noob
of Alabama, where legends are made.
Set for the second quarter, Alabama up 3-0. CFP National Championship game presented by AT&T. There is the prize at stake here. Alabama's got 3 of those beauties in the playoff era. Last time Georgia won, trophy looked very different. Wooden plaque, I think. Not nearly as shiny and fancy. They'd love to get one of those. Promising possession here. Driven at 69 yards, 2nd and 14. Todd crowd the line. Bennett flips it across the middle, and it's the first catch for Bowers, who's knocked down after a short gain.
If you're a Georgia fan, you're sitting at home saying, okay, all right, they're getting the big fella more involved here. We're starting to see 19. We didn't see him in their first few drives, and now they're starting to try to get his hands on the football. If you're not familiar with Georgia, their strength of this team is their running backs, the depth at running back, the versatility, how they move them around, and the tight ends are as good as anybody you'll see in the country.
He's been a tremendous tight end at yards after the catch. Couldn't get free there, and so Bennett faces a 3rd and 9. Last time, ball out quickly. Barton on a slant. Makes a man miss and spins down. 1st and goal, Georgia.
The best thing about that is Todd Monken gave him a play where he can get the ball out fast. Watch, 1, 2, 3, hitch, ball out. That way you don't allow Will Anderson and company to get to you.
James Cook in the game. He's got the football on 1st and goal. Runs right into a Clark Millen. DeMarco Helms came around the corner.
Yeah, it's tough sledding against this scheme and what they do. They'll take away. The linemen can't climb up to the backers, get the safeties involved. Even Stetson Bennett told us yesterday, man, we get down inside the 10. It's just tough with the way they play. Look for the big tight end. We saw it in the SEC championship game. You know it's coming, and you still have a hard time matching up with it because he's 6'7". Now, I don't know if they go back to it, but it sure looked good when in Atlanta when they hit it for an early touchdown.
Washington's to the slot to the right, Kurt. Bowers slot left. Empty. Bennett lofts it up. That was Bowers, who just could not work to the back of the end zone. Couldn't get past Helms.
Yeah, both these guys are tough matchups for safeties or linebackers. They have Helms on him now, who's a great player, but he's undersized in comparison to the big young freshman tight end.
But they say, how do you play him? Get your hands on Bowers at the line of scrimmage. Jam him.
Yeah, well, that time he was off. Helms stayed back, almost anticipating that he might be trying to go to that kind of alley-oop fade there.
Kenny McIntosh in the game. It's Pickens set off to the left with single coverage. Bennett tries to get there with his feet, and he'll be stopped short at the 5. Will Anderson wouldn't let it happen. Bennett took a quick peek, Kirk, and then trying to get home, but no chance really.
You can see in his mind he has it in him. He's been drilled all week. We need your legs on 3rd down. We're not going to turn the ball over. If you don't like it, take off. He's an athletic guy that's got wiggle. He can make some positive yards, but Alabama, to their credit, they squeeze Georgia after that big pass to Pickens. They take it away and force the field goal.
And they call Pod, Jack Podlesny, reliable kicker. 20 of 25 this year. This from 24 yards right down the middle. So the Dogs drive at 87 yards. Takes almost 6 minutes. Even in Indy, early 2nd quarter.
Ever wonder what everyone's doing on the app?
Wow, so generous.
Here in Indy, Nick Saban would love to be in the driver's seat at the end of the night here. He's been dominating former assistants. Jimbo Fisher got him. Never lost to a former Alabama assistant. 6 of the last 7 championship games. Coach Bryant driving kind of slow. Saban just zoomed by him with 7 national championships, trying for a 7th at Alabama. Would join Bobby Bowden as just the 2nd coach in the FBS division to win a title after turning 70. Saban would be the oldest, a couple weeks older than Bobby Bowden was.
Just an incredible run. In my mind, everybody has an opinion. There have been so many great coaches over the years, but I think he's the greatest coach to ever coach college football.
Georgia Earl, a fair catch.
Now let's look at what we've seen from Georgia's defense. They at times look tired, but give them credit. They're making plays. How about 3rd down pressure? Giving different looks. blitzing, showing blitz, backing out on this 3rd and 6. They bring the blitz from the outside. They sit back in zone, confuse Bryce Young, hit him hard with Trayvon Walker on that last series. So Bill O'Brien trying to make some adjustments. You can see pressured versus non-pressured. Obviously, most quarterbacks prefer that column on the right. But Georgia dialing it up much better this game than the SEC championship game so far.
A much needed rest, Kirk. That long drive gave him a chance to recover. Trying to get after Young, who launches to Williams, who's wide open down the field. How, you wonder? He's to the Georgia 35. The main target staying down, though, and gripping his knee. Oh, my goodness. There's John Mechie. At the same time of the game in Atlanta, it went down with a knee injury.
He went right down the middle of this defense. Safeties are both to the outside and works right down the middle behind the linebackers. Safeties are held to the outside with outside perimeter routes. And then at the end of the play right here, making a cut.
Awkward step. You see him grimace. Being helped off.
That's fine.
The College Football Playoff National Championship, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve. Capital One, what's in your wallet? And Cheez-It, cheesy, crunchy satisfaction.
Bryce Young's big play weapon, one of the elite deep receivers in college football. Jamison Williams is in the 10th right now.
A little bit of confusion here on the back end from this defense. They get wide. See the safety coming down, corner drops. Nobody picks up Jamison Williams into the middle of that defense, and a big gain for Alabama.
Big concern, though. See John Mechie, number 8, went down with that knee. We talked about he's outside, hoping his buddy Williams is okay. 40-yard gain, moves the ball to the 35. Young has been pressured a lot, but gets the ball out to Bolden, has been a frequent target, and he gets around the edge for a first down. Holly?
Well, guys, you could see Jamison Williams spin on that play awkwardly, and as he tried to regain his balance, as he planted, his knee went out immediately. They've carried him off the sideline. He was unable to put any weight on that knee, and he has gone into the injury tent with Jeff Allen, the athletic trainer.
Last year's championship game, the Heisman winner Devontae Smith had a brilliant first half. Couldn't play the second because of an injury. Off the hands, the ball very quickly, and that's Ajay Hall, the true freshman receiver.
Ajay Hall is probably going to be asked to, oh, there he is right there walking with the trainer. Ajay Hall right now with Williamson over with the trainer is going to be asked to come out and play. A very highly touted freshman that got off to a slow start and had to earn his way in to be trusted. That one just a little bit high for him.
3rd and 1. And a false start. That'll back him up.
And right tackle.
You know, Williams targeted against Auburn and out of the game. That's a big reason why the Alabama offense struggled.
Offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
They relied on Mechie and Ja'Cory Brooks. The freshman stepped up, but this is a very different attack. Without Williams in there, you take Mechie and Williams out there.
Yeah, your top 2 targets, both over 1,000 yards, and it comes down to Bryce Young having to kind of carry the leadership and trusting these young receivers
to do things they haven't done, be the guy in a big game. Dogs show some pressure on 3rd and 6. Young hurried a bit. The throw underneath to Bolden, who stopped a couple of yards short of the marker by Poole.
Yeah, they are getting to him. You know, they're coming with pressure off the edges, and they're getting enough pressure where he give him credit for sensing it, stepping up there, just enough time to get that off before Tyndall got to him. But even when you don't get the sack, you affect the quarterback's timing and rhythm and force him with that to get that ball out. It's great to see him walking. We'll see what the injury is, but really good news.
Reichard was good earlier from 37 and hammers this one through from 45. So that big pitch and catch to Williams. Sets up the field goal. Bama reclaims the lead. 6-3. 11-12 to play before halftime. Concern is for Bama's playmaker. He's headed to the locker room.
My whole life is on this phone, so...
Combo. Order on the Jack app today.
Taco Bell brought the best of the regular season to the CFP. Taco Bell Live Moss student section providing free tickets for tonight's national championship game to students from both schools. Giving the biggest game back to the biggest fans. Well, subdued from the Alabama fans in here. Serious concern. They've still got Bryce Young. Still got some weapons. Good running game in that defense, but Jamison Williams being checked out in the locker room. And as Bennett and the Dogs go back to work, and Kenny McIntosh brings it out. McIntosh has a crease. Flag down, still alive into Alabama territory, and finally shoved out inside the 40. Well, this one may come back.
During the return, holding, receiving team, number 20, 10-yard penalty for the spot of the foul. First down.
Kirby Smart checking that out.
A good return, set up nicely. They get a double team off to the right. He hits it, but 20 Munden definitely grabs a hold of the Alabama cover man and set them back at their own 20.
Nick Kirk had ruined a 59-yard return. Georgia hadn't made a lot of electric plays in the return game this season. That would have been the biggest. And another pre-snap misfire.
And the snap didn't come up. Everybody else moved. Van Pran did not bring the snap up.
False start, offense. Everyone except the snapper, 5-yard penalty, first down.
They keep getting behind the sticks here in this first half. You see the ball then come up. You know, these third downs that they've faced, because they get behind with these penalties, their average line to make 9 yards on their 4 third downs.
Bama has been the more penalty-prone team this season. Usually not a huge problem for Georgia. 6 already. Pressure, ball high. Tried to get it to Pickens, but he was under duress from Will Anderson again.
And again, it's not the sack, right? It's just affecting the accuracy and the timing of the throw. You don't think 13 knows where 31 is? Of course he does. Every time he throws, he knows where he is. And just by getting in there, flashing his helmet right in the face of the undersized quarterback, he has to throw it. The ball goes high to Pickens.
Coaches say Will Anderson was made to play for Nick Saban. Perfectly wired. Bennett, a long throw to the sidelines, and McConkey spun out because he embraces the hard work. He wants to go to the place where it's the hardest. And when they took that loss, it was Anderson that told his teammates, match me, match my effort, my energy.
Yeah, and you and I had a chance to sit down with him, with Holly, and our whole team when he walked out of the room. Like, we wanted to hug him. I mean, he is just to me, it should be the ambassador of the sport next year. There's his parents fired up. What a good, just a good young man.
I like that, ambassador of the sport.
He should be.
Could use more of them.
He should be.
And they need 12 on this third down. And it's a screen. Cook, a lot of work to do, and no chance. Dropped by Anderson and to Oto, and it's 4th down.
And we just talked about him, and it's on cue, right? His family's fired up, and they should be. What a sequence of plays for the All-American. He's gonna rush that quarterback, right? Got to get to the quarterback. Nope. Awareness that the ball is getting dumped to Cook, and how about the speed by the big edge defender to eventually catch up to James Cook.
So savvy to go with all the obvious physical abilities. Bolden back to receive the punt of Camarda, who's punted well tonight. gets this one away too. Bolden retreats inside the 30, muffs it, and has to just jump on the friendly bounce back at the 26-yard line.
Oh, the fella's tired. Look at him.
Got to stay awake, Uga.
We got a hockey promo here. Come on.
He was on the set. Lee Corso picking Georgia pregame. Blue Jackets.
Blue Jackets in action Thursday night.
Carolina Hurricanes Thursday, 7 o'clock. ESPN Plus.
I'll have to wake up by the time the Jackets get ready to play.
There's Mr. Corso, who once called Uga ugly, but has since learned to love him.
Oh my gosh, look at that. He's had enough.
We're just getting going, Uga. Burton, or Brooks, I should say, one of those guys is going to have to step up as he did late in that game against Auburn. Caught the game-tying ball that sent it to overtime. Molly?
Well, Chris, Georgia defensive coordinator Dan Lanning gathered his defense together and addressed Jameson Williams' injury. He said one is gone, and that changes things. The only plays they've had are plays with one, so no more excuses. Play Georgia defense and don't give them anything. Chris?
Lanning, of course, off to Oregon, which will open against Georgia next season. How about that dynamic? But a big job to do in the meantime. Young across the middle. It's caught. They're running down the field. Can they track the tight end down? They try to punch the ball free. They can't. He's inside the 10.
Chris, Ringo, the corner, has inside leverage on the big tight end. So he sets him up, works to the outside. He's on an island against a bigger tight end. Accuracy, the throw, gets around Ringo, and his tight end, Latu, can go. Great speed.
61-yard gain. Robinson to the left. He caught a 28-yarder. That was the previous long play, but he did get up and go, didn't he?
He really did. Really nice throw to the outside. Defender tried to get underneath it. And then again, the two can, because of his size, you don't think he can go that fast, but after the catch, at 250 pounds down that left sideline, almost takes it to the end zone.
Well, with Williams still being checked out, who will step up? Latu says, I can make plays. He's been a red zone weapon. This time he gets him into the red zone on 2nd and goal. Bryce across the middle, and it's incomplete. Tried to find Latu again. Dean was in close coverage.
Now they want to go back to him again. It's matched up with the Kobe Dean all the way over here. He's going to come across. You'll see 17 have to get through some traffic. His own defender gets in his way and actually almost impacted the play. It's like Channing Tindall, who had his eyes in the backfield, was kind of frozen, and Kobe Dean had to run through him and avoid it.
Yeah, and the ball almost bounced into Brooks' hands on the carom. 3rd and goal. Young on the move, backpedaling, and they've got him back at the 20. Channing Tindall, a tremendous series.
They initially rushed 3, and then eventually Tindall is just kind of waiting. He's been told we cannot let him get outside. Don't let him get outside of us this time. Last time we played him, he did. This time he's not gonna. Tindall catches up to him with his speed and brings him down.
And he just did what Georgia could not do in the SEC championship game. Sack Bryce Young. Reichard providing all the Alabama points so far. 3 for 3, a 55-yard drive as the Dogs stiffen in the red zone. 6-point game midway second.
My operator said, hey.
Intuit TurboTax Live.
Now, for more than 8 years, ESPN has provided support to education to the Extra Yard for Teachers initiative. Moments ago, presentation, that's CFP Executive Director Bill Hancock on the left, and our ESPN President Jimmy Pitaro dedicating $300,000 to recognize and support teachers, including funding to ensure equity within Indianapolis public schools. John Mechie going back to the Bama locker room, no doubt to check on his buddy Jameson Williams, who made that 40-yard catch, came down awkwardly and had to be helped off the field. Here's a pooch kickoff. which bounces out of bounds, and the penalty will move the ball to the 35 for Georgia.
Georgia's offense going to have to come up with answers from Will Anderson Jr. here, setting the edge against the run. A great strength of his, not just a pass rusher. Just because he has a narrow frame doesn't mean he can't get involved in stopping the run. Here he flushes Stetson Bennett and throws it away. That's a win. And then the awareness, the instincts as an edge pressure guy, and then the hustle to chase down James Cook. He's been doing it all tonight, the way he has all year for the Alabama defense.
What answers can you find for this guy? Opponents have been trying to find answers for a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough thing to do, and Georgia's still trying to kind of find their rhythm offensively. They hit the big play to Pickens, but other than that, it's been tough.
Yeah, three and outs in their first 4 possessions. This is Cook trying to get it going on the left side, just a couple of yards. Holly?
Well, you guys said that Will Anderson Jr. is a great fit for Nick Saban. Part of that's because he's never satisfied. We asked him why, and he's like, growing up with 5 older sisters, I couldn't be. They'd always tell me what I did wrong. Even now, if I play well, they're telling me I'm too slow. But the sisters are all at home watching. We wanted to give them a shout out. We appreciate how you've driven and pushed this young man. They have puppy duty. Will Scott, Anita had 10 pit bull babies. They're home watching the puppies. So shout out and much love to all Will Anderson sisters.
A lot going on in the household tonight there. A lot going on here for Will Anderson Jr. Across the middle, it's McIntosh in space, knocked down, but not before he gets a first down near midfield.
They brought Henry Toto, so it opened up a nice little hole there in the middle of the defense. They blitz, and nice job of picking that up. And Bennett kind of senses it, feels it, and just checks it down real quick to McIntosh and get positive yards for the first down.
Bennett on the move, delivers a throw, and a leaping attempt. It was A.D. Mitchell, incomplete.
He's going up against the junior college transfer, a young player who hasn't played a ton of ball, Kyrie Jackson. That's a matchup that they wanted to try to create with Josh Jobe out with an injury. Pretty tight coverage there by Jackson.
Pressure on 2nd and 10. Bennett in heavy traffic. The ball is juggled and caught and driven out there as Bowers.
That's 3 guys that it takes to bring down the true freshman tight end. You got a linebacker there, you got a corner there, and then eventually a safety and Helms to clean it up. You know, this is one of those games you're just trying to give yourself a chance on 3rd down. I liked how he used his body there to protect the ball. There's 2. And then eventually they can't get him down. Here comes a 3rd defender in to clean it up.
Of course, he bulldozed 2 Bama defenders for a big touchdown late in the game in Atlanta. Dogs need 4 and 3rd. Slant. Mitchell. He's got the first down. Lost the ball. Is he ruled down? Yes. No fumble. First down, Georgia inside the 35.
Stetson Bennett. He goes right back to that corner, Jackson, who is, again, very gifted, very talented, but also very inexperienced. So he's got a young freshman at A.D. Mitchell that gets inside leverage there with a nice route, and the timing is much better. That's where Georgia has to be. They were at 3rd and 4 there. They've been averaging 3rd and 10 on all of their 3rd downs, which doesn't sit well with Stetson in this scheme.
Bootleg. Wants to take a shot downfield, is slammed to the ground. That was Dallas Turner, that other talented young inside linebacker.
Boy, he is relentless. You know, you think about Will Anderson Jr., and here you've got a tackle and a back trying to get around to help. Watch Georgia. They've got a tackle and then the back white trying to help. He goes all the way around them both, and eventually is able to make that sack.
Tall, long from Fort Lauderdale. He's the next elite edge rusher for this defense, isn't he?
Yeah. Broderick Jones in at left tackle there, the freshman. He works around him.
2nd sack for Bama makes it 2nd and 14 from the pocket. Bennett has some time. Now feels pressure, rolls, and just throws it away. That time it was good coverage.
Well, the reason he shared with us the importance that he has to run the ball and not force it is he said he kept saying they play so much match man, so much man coverage underneath that looks like zone, and eventually when you run your routes, the linebackers engage with receivers and tight ends, and nobody's there for the quarterback. That time doing a nice job of not only matching up but also taking away his lanes to try to run the football. Another 3rd and long.
If they need 14, they could get within Podlesny's field goal range if they could move the ball about another 8 or 9 yards. Here comes the blitz. It's picked up. Bennett does have time. Checks it down over the middle. And Garris Jackson makes the catch and pays a price. His toe knocked him down at the 30. That is the kind of gain, though, that's going to give Podlesny a chance to kick a 5th field goal here in the first.
That's one of those they'll take a peek at, you know, and hopefully it's not. They're not going to be called from upstairs. I mean, he hit him face mask to face mask. I don't think he lowered his head, but really aggressive, and to me, a great play by Toto, who was blitzing and then reverted back to help out on that play.
Podlesny, this is the longest field goal attempt of the season, but within his range in his career, and that's a beauty. Knocks it through from 49. And the Dogs back within 3 in this field goal duel.
Testing his leg strength, and plenty of leg to get that through.
Sure did have plenty of leg. Adrenaline would be powerful stuff. That would have been good from 55, 50
Oh, yeah.
yards.
Yeah. Let's go back and take a look at there's Toto. Look to have Bill hop in here. Oh, he hits him in the chest. That's clean. Right, Bill? Initial contact there with the chest.
Yeah, I've got him picking his head up prior to the contact, so he's coming in with his face mask.
That's perfect.
That's
right?
a good hit.
Yeah, that's what you want to see, right?
Keep the head up or get the head to the side.
Yeah.
So Bennett able to weather more heavy pass rush pressure in that drive.
Who thought 9-6 with 3:09 to go in the second quarter?
This is like Alabama LSU back in 2011, right? Speaking of rematches, the Tide shut him out in that championship game in the Superdome after LSU had won in Tuscaloosa. Yeah, it's a grinder, isn't it? These defenses are really hard to succeed against on 3rd down.
Right now, Georgia has 11 yards rushing. Alabama has 5 yards rushing.
Some of that with sacks factored in, but very, very little from the running back so far. I think we'll see a big run busted tonight. There's going to be a lot of this hard-earned 2-3 yard games.
It's going to be hard-earned, yeah.
Robinson. And had a little crease, but it closed down quickly. Quay Walker takes him down.
You know, Robinson had a big game against Cincinnati. You know, he had over 200-yard game, and a lot of that had to do with how Cincinnati played him. He played that offense. They sat back, tried to prevent the big play in the pass game, and opened up the running game. Totally different matchup tonight against Georgia.
There's a career high for Robinson. Young delivers low. Nakobe Dean was in the area, but the pressure again influencing the throw. A lot less comfortable tonight, isn't he, Bryce Young?
He really is, and they're moving around and doing different ways of getting pressure. Watch the inside. Now he bounces to the outside, Wyatt, and he wins his one-on-one matchup. How many times do we hear Kirby Smart say, we lost a lot of individual matchups, whether it was a receiver and a defensive back, offensive line against a defensive line. We got to win some matchups. They're doing that tonight.
Monte Wyatt, a really unsung player, lost 40 pounds, has worked hard, and he is a menace. Tough run stopper in this scheme, but also quick enough to get after the quarterback. Both sides pointing at the other here.
Offside. Defense, number 88, making contact with an offensive lineman. 5-yard penalty.
It's Jalen Carter who gone across.
McLaughlin's trying to make contact. He kind of reached his left hand out there to try to make contact with Carter.
It's a
Different call here now.
4th and 5 yards, 3rd and 2 now.
3rd and 7 to 3rd and 2.
Both teams just 2 of 7 on 3rd down. That's Holden, who motioned and then is now back off the line of scrimmage. Young across the middle. Catch made. Jai Hall works his way free, and the freshman steps up in the absence of Williams and makes a big play.
Well, they use a mesh to try to affect Nakobe Dean, and it works. A crossing concept. Watch Nakobe Dean. Actually, right here, he gets caught up right in the middle, right there. Just enough from Latu coming across the middle. He had to go around him, which gave Hall enough ability to get away and separate.
The tall, lanky Floridian, young guy in this receiving core. Robinson moves forward. You know, Young, you have so much trust in Mechie. He's the security blanket. Then you have the big play guy, Williams. Now you've got both those guys taken away. You got a pass rush that's all over you. It's going to be an interesting challenge for Bryce Young here, Kurt.
Yeah, and we talked to him about finding rhythm with the new receivers, and he said during that month off, we had extra time to throw with them.
Trying to find rhythm again, just off the fingertips of Hall. This is going to have a huge upside. You're going to hear a lot more from him in coming years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, when you're a quarterback and you're used to working with your top receivers, you get reps with the other guys during the season, but not as much to be able to build that rhythm that you can almost close your eyes and make a throw. And he said he intentionally worked once Mechie went down with these other receivers because he knew they'd be more involved. And I think he said, you know, once we work for a few days, you can start to feel each guy runs routes a certain way, and you start to find the right way to throw to him.
Ideally, you'd want to have trust, but sometimes you just got to look for someone to step up and seize the moment. And on this 3rd and 8, a timeout is called here. Alabama trying to extend a 3-point lead. You know, this year has had a much more defensive personality. You think about Kirk, recent championship games and the offensive fireworks of Clemson's attack and Joe Burrow, right. Mac Jones last year. Different vibe here so far in Indy.
Yeah, and it makes, I think, both offensive coordinators and quarterbacks a little cautious. You know, you don't want to be the guy that makes the critical error that maybe costs your team a game. And it's early enough in this game that field position and little aspects of this game could decide who ends up getting a little bit of a lead. But doesn't it have a feel this thing's going to be a possession going into that 4th quarter, and we'll see what ends up happening. But adjustments having to be made, especially by Bill O'Brien, with Jamison Williams right now out of the game.
Who makes the play, who avoids the mistake.
Yep.
Really haven't had in the playoff era a championship game anything like this one so far. See what O'Brien comes up with in this 3rd and 8. Three receivers stacked to the right. Young looking that way, works back across the middle, a diving attempt by Bolden. And in front of Smith, makes the catch. Waiting for the signal. Now it's incomplete. They're waving out to spot the ball. Some hesitation.
Yeah, Christopher Smith is one of the leaders on that back end. The ball hits the surface and comes out. And, you know, he had a knee in that first matchup in the SEC championship. Didn't practice all week. And then he had to try to match up against this offense, and it really affected him in that game. He's much healthier here, and that time was on an island against the more veteran receiver, Slade Bolden.
So Saban not in field goal range, not looking to take a risk here, just hoping that Jesse Burnip can boot it high and pin the Dogs deep. Jackson makes the fair catch at the 10. Minute 33 before the break. Take a look at the quarterback comparison. Bennett got off to a very shaky start, but had the big play to Pickens to get himself going.
And both these offenses fairly one-dimensional. You know, having to throw the football without any ability right now to run the ball. Line of scrimmage has been tough. Interesting sequence here. I mean, you look at the clock. Alabama has all 3 timeouts. There's a minute 33 to go. Georgia's pinned inside their own 10. Are they going to be conservative? And is Alabama going to be able to have a chance to call 3 timeouts and force a 3 and out and get the ball maybe near midfield, have a chance at a field goal?
White knocked down after a 3-yard gain. You can bet that if Georgia looks a little passive, that Saban will pounce, start spending those timeouts.
Yeah, right now, looking over there, he is not doing it. I'm sure Kirby Smart, they want to slow things down right now. Surprised that Nick Saban didn't use that timeout there.
White able to get 4 yards.
Kirby very happy to see that clock still moving. If they run again, I think you'll definitely see Alabama use that timeout.
Inside of a minute. White. Immediate traffic. Christian Harris has played an outstanding first half. Picks up just a yard.
No.
Clock's still moving.
Yeah, looking over there. He's walking away. I think he's content. He's content with a 9-6 lead. Remember, Georgia did win the toss and defer. And they get the ball to start the second half. Yeah, he's going to let it go. Now he calls a timeout.
He just wants to force the punt, I guess. Mercedes EQ halftime report. Reese Davis, Desmond Howard, and David Pollack. David Pollack hoping that his preseason prediction that Georgia would lose to Bama in the SEC championship game and then avenge it to win the title comes true. Aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear, making the plays that move you forward. Goodyear, more driven. How surprised are you with the way the first half's unfolded?
Very surprised. I mean, we thought we'd see with the playmaking ability for both of these offenses and the potential of what they can do. You think even though these defenses are outstanding, still there's a chance to make plays. And the second half, by the way, could be completely different. At any moment, these offenses can catch fire. But yeah, to sit here at 9-6, big surprise.
Young, who threw 44 passes in the SEC championship game, on track to throw for more than 50 tonight. Bennett directing traffic on this 3rd and 5. And it's White again, and he'll have the first down. And out across the 25, and that should just about do it. Now everything to play for in the final 30 minutes. Neither team really able to take command. Bama kind of edging in front. Georgia answering with field goals. Both offenses struggling against these stout 3rd down defenses. And Jamison Williams being checked out in the locker room. That, of course, is one of the headlines of this first half. Bill Anderson doing his job, as is Nakobe Dean, the 2 defensive stars, showing you why they're considered NFL first-rounders. To Holly with Nick Saban.
Coach Saban, if Jamison Williams is unable to return, how do you adapt on offense without him?
Well, I think we got other players that have an opportunity. There are a lot of young guys out there. They got talent, so they got to play with competitive character and have a chance to make some plays. They're capable. They don't have the experience, but they're going to get it tonight.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Molly?
Coach, you were just speaking to Stetson Bennett. What did you say?
So we got to settle down. We haven't had probably one drive that we didn't have negative plays starting on where we started back up. You know what I mean? Like we're shooting ourselves in the foot. We're 1st and 15, 2nd and 20. You're not a good football team when you do that. We got to get some good things together on offense.
All right, thank you, Coach. Chris.
No turnovers, but 7 penalties for Smart's team. Alabama leads at 9-6. Mercedes EQ halftime report is coming up after these messages. You're watching the College Football Playoff National Championship presented by AT&T.
Most reliable 5G network.
You're watching the College Football Playoff National Championship game presented by AT&T. Ready for the second half as we take a look at downtown Indy with the 5G connected drone cam powered by AT&T 5G. And a frigid night Well, a rarity in the CFP era championship game, where the first 5 scores have all been field goals. It doesn't add up when you consider that there are 333 combined passing yards. Chris Fowler back with Kirk Herbstreit. Georgia's committed some penalties, had poor field position, and the defenses have been tough in the red zone.
Yeah, the defenses, I think if there's a theme or a narrative, it's the defensive lines and the fronts have dominated the line of scrimmage against the offensive lines. The adjustments need to be made up front. Both offensive coordinators and O-line coaches need to come up with ways. You don't need to hang your hat running the ball, but these defenses need to feel some physicality in running the ball.
Alabama's longest run in the half, Kirk, 4 yards. Bennett had the one scramble, which he lost the ball and got it back. That was Georgia's best run. Next for Capital One, rewarding performance.
Let's take a look at what we saw a lot of in the first half, and saw this Alabama defense dialed in, getting Alabama or getting Georgia behind the sticks, applying pressure a number of different ways. We saw mostly Will Anderson being able to get after Stetson Bennett. He never quite felt comfortable. He had the one big pass downfield where he got it on a first down throw, but great job of pressuring him. And look what they've averaged, going back to Kirby Smart's comment. Second down, they've been averaging 11 yards. Third down, 9 yards.
It was a first down run, and Zamir White muscles for 10. That's what Dogs fans are hoping to see a lot more of tonight.
My guess is Kirby Smart, after he left that interview with Molly, he went in there and went right to the offensive room and just challenged that offensive line's manhood. If we're going to win a national championship, you collectively have got to start being more physical, giving us a chance.
You wonder if Saban did the same thing to his offensive line. They haven't created any creases in the running game either. And White slips out of a tackle, cuts through a crease and barrels into Alabama territory. There goes Zeus.
Well, Will Anderson got pushed to the inside by Jones. C59, he seals it. Now it's one-on-one. What a move there by White, who's known for being a power runner, but gives a shake that time to Helms and gets around him for more positive yards. There, we haven't seen them run the ball like this the entire first half.
2 carries, 30 yards. 3 tight ends in the game for Georgia. And it's a flea flicker. Bennett looking downfield and just throws it away. It was Bowers running down the middle. Pickens was over on the left. And Christian Harris was pressuring Bennett.
That was a really good job by DeMarco Helms, too, of staying back and not biting in. Remember, they just had back-to-back positive runs. You're thinking they're coming downhill. It's a really good time to call it. But look how he stays back there, takes away the shot down the middle, which is where he wanted to go, and all he could do was throw it away.
And they called intentional grounding.
Illegally ground the football, lost it down at the spot of the foul. Second down.
It was clearly a throwaway. Pickens had kind of broken the route off. Bennett might not like the call.
Yeah, he came off it real quick. Watch the safety in the back, too. He's got to stay back, and he does. And then you could just see, I think it was that Stetson Bennett just came off and just kind of threw it away, gave the body language as if he was just giving up on the play, and he was inside the tackle box.
Once again, as Kirby Smart mentioned to Molly, they are behind the sticks. The penalty makes it 2nd and 19.
Yep.
Way too much of this tonight for Georgia. Bennett underneath to Cook. Dangerous with the football in his hands, makes a cut and gets back inside the 45, make it a more reasonable 3rd down.
We saw in that Michigan game Cook and Bowers and others involved in a short passing game where they just got it out in space and let Cook do damage. We've not seen a lot of that. They get some positive yards here, at least give them a chance on 3rd down, but it's still 3rd and long after the intentional grounding.
And Cook got caught 25 passes and took 4 of them to the house. It was a big problem for Michigan in the semifinal. 3rd and 8. Pressure comes. Bennett retreats and just throws it away. Once again, Christian Harris is a problem.
Yeah, the combination of Christian Harris. Look who he came off of. Will Anderson. Will Anderson's here. Gets a lot of attention, and he comes right behind him off of the edge. Cook leaves. He gets out of the backfield. And it's so hard for a left tackle for Jones to come down on an All-American and then have enough flexibility to come back out against the speed of that blitzing linebacker, Harris.
So they cover the flea flicker well. Bennett guilty of the intentional grounding, and that spoils the drive. Good job by Camarda, who pins the tie deep. Fair catch made at the 7. Bryce Young, his first possession of the second half coming up.
Fuel your grind. Rhodes Chevrolet.
Alabama had some opportunities to come away with touchdowns in the red zone. They were 0 for 2. This is a play that Nakobe Dean catches a break, gets a little excited with his partner, Tyndall, saying, hey, man, you got to be aware. You got to help me out. Very next play, Tyndall feeding off of that energy and that push from his leader, reacts with a sack and then comes back to him and daps him up, saying, that's it. We're going to do this together. That's the leadership, man. That's the intangibles that Nakobe Dean brings to this Georgia defense. He's the guy. He's the quarterback of the D.
And the defense is Young and Bama pinned back here at the 7. Robinson trying to make something happen in the running game. Very little so far. He got 3 yards. Holly?
Well, guys, Jameson Williams will not return to this game for Alabama. He's gone to the locker room, and when the athletic trainers came back out onto the field and saw John Mechie out here, they sent him back in there to talk to him. So they won't give us an update, but what that tells me is that he does have a knee injury. That's a huge loss. 76 receptions on this season. The next closest guy with 35, somebody is going to have to step up here.
No doubt, Holly. We've seen a couple guys make plays. The passing game has actually been clicking. They just haven't found the end zone. Young launches downfield to Billingsley, and it's picked off by Smith. The safety was lurking back there. The tight end was well covered, and the Dogs with tonight's first takeaway.
Boy, right on cue, talking about somebody's going to have to make a play, and Billingsley can't get off of the coverage from Poole. He's kind of locked up there. He gets hands on him. The ball sails where he thought Billingsley would be able to get to, and Smith comes over for the interception. It's not just Bryce Young trying to adjust to 5-star recruits. They're all talented, but you lose experience, you lose wisdom, you lose all those reps that you have with Mechie and Jameson Williams. That's what he's got to try to relate to and come to an understanding with this new group that he's working with.
Now can Bennett cash in? The pass is tipped at the line. That was Anderson again getting the long arm up. You're just laughing. He just continues to dominate.
I just like to sit back and watch him play. He does everything. I mean, he is not a pass rusher, and that's it. He has the ability, but he's almost like a safety or a linebacker who happens to be built at 6'4", like 240 pounds. It's his instincts, Chris, and his passion for the game, to me, that separate him. I know his family is fired up tonight to watch him play.
Did a great job raising him, that's for sure.
No doubt.
2nd and 10. Bennett pump fakes, delivers a high throw. McIntosh well covered. Man, knocked down at the 40. Talk about working hard and taking some shots to gain 3 yards.
Yeah, they did a crossfire blitz with the 2 inside linebackers. Toe ends up getting home. He comes around. You'll see the other backer, Harris, come into the inside as well. And eventually he's able to get through that gap. You could just see Stetson Bennett just uncomfortable, waiting for his receivers to get done with their route and turn so he has somebody to throw the ball to.
Another 3rd and long. Pressure. Anderson getting after Bennett, who rolls away from him. He was just sprinting from the start, trying to find Mitchell. 4th down.
You asked, what do you do against Will Anderson? Well, 3rd down, you move the launch point. You just forget trying to block him. Roll away from him. Look how quick he is, his get off. Even gets around Cook. It's a good idea to try to move him away from the pressure, but it eliminates the amount of receivers you have to throw. He just had the 1 receiver out there who was covered.
So the Dogs cannot cash in the first takeaway of the night. Smith's interception is wasted, and a 3-and-out as they try to pin Bama back deep again, and the ball takes a friendly bounce, and that's Brock Bowers, the freshman All-American, down there making a play at the 2.
I'm those root for those with a fighting spirit.
The College Football Playoff National Championship, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by Allstate. Save money like a champion with Allstate. Taco Bell and Modelo. Root for those with a fighting spirit.
Saban calls Smart one of the best and most loyal assistant coaches he's ever had. LSU, a year at the Dolphins, and 4 championships together at Alabama.
Incredible. They were synonymous there for so many years. And Kirby gets the opportunity to come back to his alma mater and coach at Georgia and do incredible jobs.
Tonight, a massive opportunity for him. If they can come back and win to finally answer those critics who say, Georgia, yeah, but you can't beat Bama. Bryce Young again backed up, this time at the 2-yard line, coming off just his 6th interception of the season. Robinson fighting to avoid his safety. Is it Jalen Carter who was there in a hurry? And then heavy traffic behind him.
Doesn't this game feel like, as we're 5 minutes into the third quarter, field position, it's a 9-6 game. It's almost like neither offense wants to be the offense that makes the critical mistake that cost their team the game. Just a little tentative, being a little careful on offense.
I agree. On Bama's side, that might be because their big play guy is out of there. Robinson finally making a play, breaking tackles, showing some determination, and that gets a roar from the Bama fans who have waited all night to see a run like that.
He broke through 2 arm tackles, maybe a third. Carter, 88, gets his hands. He's working down the line. He breaks through that arm tackle. Lewis Seen comes up. That is a physical safety. He gets through him. The corner, Ringo, he works through him. And a 4th Georgia defender. He used a stiff arm to get through him.
And they call B-Rob, has improved Bama's field position. He's got it again. Talking about a guy that made his first start at Bama, Kirk, in his 53rd game. Waited behind Najee Harris the last couple of years. And had a career high. He talked about Cincinnati. Game 66. That is unheard of in this era.
For a lot of young players that get a little disgruntled, frustrated, and oftentimes and nowadays they enter the transfer portal. Brian Robinson is the opposite of that. His first year he was there behind Bo Scarborough, Damian Harris, then eventually Josh Jacobs, and eventually Najee Harris. And he waited, and it was frustrated. He kept working to be able to have this year in 2021.
Young gets it out to the far side. And that's Holden, Trayshawn Holden, the sophomore. He also did a lot to improve himself, got a lot stronger. He wasn't just sitting and waiting his turn, getting better.
No, he was, think about these backs. All these guys have had great college careers. Many are off to the NFL. Damian Harris, Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris for the Steelers. And meanwhile, he's in the background while all of them are working. And instead of just sitting there and being frustrated, he's frustrated, but he's trying to learn from those guys to see what they did. And they kept telling him, man, you're going to get your chance. And eventually he has.
It's Holden. It's his turn to try to step into the void and make a play. He thought about transferring a couple times. Robinson told me there were some low points there.
Yeah.
You can imagine. But he decided to honor his commitment, and his family kind of encouraged him to do that.
And also, if you're at Alabama and you're a running back and you become the guy, you're eventually, through all that adversity, you're going to become a different back physically and mentally, and you become a dangerous weapon. There's Jameson Williams coming back, walking under his own power, coming out to be a part of this second half.
Good to see him walking okay, but in sweats. And as Holly said, he won't be a part of this game anymore. Sidearm pitch to Brooks. He's knocked down by Nolan Smith. A couple yards short of the marker. It'll be 3rd down.
And just trying to get the ball out to the edge. Even with Jameson Williams out, the game plan continues. Work the edges, make those cornerbacks have to tackle. 2 1,000-yard receivers out of this game. And Bryce Young relying on some young players and a couple veterans led by Slade Bolden, the slot receiver.
Young flips it to Sanders out of the backfield, who slips and fights with Walker. It's right near the marker. Looks like they'll give him a 1st down.
really good patience of just waiting and waiting and waiting for this to eventually clear. You'll see these linebackers right here. Walker kind of gets occupied with that crossing route, and because of that, there's just enough room out there to flip it late, and eventually Sanders gets enough for that first down.
Ball pitched to Holden. Look, we don't know the diagnosis, unlikely to get it tonight, but it's certainly a promising sign that Jameson Williams is able to walk like that, not crutches, allowed to be on his feet. And maybe this very high draft prospect will not have that hurt too much by what's happened here. We were hopeful of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Good job there by Georgia, that just leveraging the football. Instead of one guy trying to make that tackle, you have two out there on the edge.
Another short throw. It's Robinson, runs right into Seed and just drives him backwards.
I love that. I love one of the hardest hitting safeties in the SEC coming down to give Brian Robinson at 225 pounds. Again, quick throws out to the edge, make those corners, make those safeties tackle. Seen a little bit high there. Robinson able to lower that shoulder and get into it.
Emil Ekiyor, the right guard for the side, lost his helmet. Got to come out for this 3rd and 2 play. J.C. Latham stepping in to his position. Young to Robinson again. They're beginning to involve the back as a receiver. Good to get Robinson going inside the 40.
But as much as Georgia blitzes the linebackers, a great answer to that is to just get it outside as quick as you can, especially on 3rd and short. Dump it out there to Robinson, make the defensive backs have to tackle him when he's running downhill. Really good call by Bill O'Brien there on 3rd down.
And Ekiyor is back in the game at right guard. Robinson's got it again. Testing the middle.
And he's starting to
fall forward for 5 or 6, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I mean, this entire drive seems like Four has had his hands on the ball, catching the ball to the backfield and getting behind this offensive line that's starting to block a lot better, getting a much better push.
It's Jalen Carter, the very big, quick nose guard for the Dogs. Athletic trainers checking him out. We'll step aside.
So at AT&T, everyone gets our best deals.
Aren't others doing that? So come shop and save at Spartanburg Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
To focus on the game, just tell Siri, turn on Do Not Disturb.
Coming up, we got something you don't want to miss from the Bob's Burgers movie, only in theaters May 27th.
What a drive Alabama has put together here. 11 plays, 64 yards.
And Bryce Young-Kirk, after that interception, has responded 7 for 7 on the drive. Short passes, but they moved the ball inside the 35. 2nd and 4. Robinson fighting hard to get near the marker. It'll be the kind of 3rd down that Bill O'Brien will like, about a yard.
Let's not forget about what both teams talked about from the first matchup. Alabama, long drives, converting on 3rd down, getting the talented Georgia defense fatigued and tired. Georgia worked really hard for that not to become a factor, but on these longer drives in the second half, hands on hips, starting to see it potentially become an issue.
Robinson makes the first down. Kirk, you're exactly right. In that energized huddle in that last time out, Bama players and coaches telling each other they're getting tired. They're getting tired. You can overhear that.
Yeah, and when Carter went down, you know, he walked off. He probably will be back out. I mean, it allowed that Georgia defense to regroup somewhat, but there's no doubt on that 11-play drive, we saw Georgia defense getting tired.
Robinson again hit low and knocked down by Nolan Smith.
Nolan Smith doing a really good job off the edge. At time Billingsley just not able to block him. He just shedded him and got into the backfield. You know, Bama's been doing a much better job. Watch 4 right there. Just gets off a 19, and then Submarines, Brian Robinson. They've been doing a much better job of mixing up run with pass on this drive of 14 plays.
Sanders spelling Robinson motions to the far right of the formation on 2nd and 11. Dogs bring some late pressure off the edge. And a low throw trying to find Ja'Cory Brooks. Seen in coverage. Third down and 11.
He got pressure. I mean, they bring a blitz, but it's the inside. We just talked about Jalen Carter eventually getting back in, and he is in. And I think that affected this. 88 gets a little bit high. That's why the Alabama fans are reacting. You know, they got into the face mask on that throw. A little bit with the right elbow from Jalen Carter. He's still got enough on that ball to give his receiver a chance.
He tried to work that back shoulder fake. But you talked about the timing, the reps. Brooks is not a guy that, if it's Mechie, it's maybe a different situation there. Play clock at 3. Dogs bring the heat again. Young backpedals and fires downfield, and it's incomplete. Out of the hands of Agiye Hall, who had a step inside the 10. Fourth down.
You know, on third down, they're going to blitz their linebackers, and they bring them. How about the job by Brian Robinson of stepping up on Kobe Dean, who you know he does such a good job of finding those creases. Boom, right there, just before Tyndall can get to him. And I'll tell you what, there was a lot of activity. That ball is perfectly thrown right on the money to the freshman Hall, who kind of wrong-armed it and just could not bring it in.
The reliable Reichard tries to make it 4 for 4 tonight, but it's blocked. The Dogs are very good at blocking field goals. That's the 3rd this season, and the lead is still 3. It's a big Devontae Wyatt.
Right in the middle. You get a big push by Wyatt. 88, also Carter. Looks like Carter's left hand knocked that ball away.
Can I ask you a question? Am I out of...
J.D. Power's #1 brand in new vehicle quality.
Going to be 8 degrees tonight in Indianapolis. Goodyear providing aerial coverage with you for every mile on the road to greatness. Goodyear, more driven. NBA doubleheader on ESPN begins at 7:30. Mavs and the Knicks at the Garden. And at 10 o'clock, the Bulls hosting KD, James Harden and the Nets. Both games on the ESPN app. So Georgia's blocked 2 punts, 2 PATs, and now 2 field goals this season. Still a 3-point game. They begin from the 20. Cook makes a cut. He's got blazing speed. James Cook in a foot race. Can the Tide track him down? They finally get him inside the 15. Battles save the touchdown, but the Dogs instantly threaten.
Nice counter play here. They pull the backside and pick up a nice couple blocks. It's one of the first times. Remember, they had a couple runs by White, but this is a different kind of run because of the vision and the cutback and then the speed. That's just natural instincts as a ball carrier. Instead of keeping that play side after he got through the line of scrimmage, felt that defense over pursuing, cut back on Helms, #2, and then he's out in the open with that speed.
The guy Nick Saban most concerned about in this Georgia offense, Cook, he says that guy is fast. I mean, really fast. Bennett breaking tackles and weaving, has to duck down to avoid a big hit. The ball out, but they rule no fumble. 67-yard play for Cook.
That's big. You need to remember we said it's going to be either a critical mistake or it's going to be a big play. There's a big play. We'll see if Georgia can capitalize. That pressure got on him. He wanted to get this ball out here to Bowers. That's what just the pressure got to him too quickly. Or he had those tight ends in front, get it to Bowers, he can pick up some positive yards.
Who else? Harris and Williams on that side.
It's every play.
By the way, Bama's previous long run allowed this year, 37. So Cook went 30 yards beyond that. It's McIntosh who picks his way. Did they grab his face mask? Yes. Penalty flag down as he's knocked down right near the marker at the 3. Boy, it's going to be first down and goal.
How about the push by Sawyer? You and I were talking at a break. You know, they took out Erickson, moved Sawyer from left tackle to right guard.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, #48. Half the distance to the goal from the end of the run. First down.
Sawyer's showing his versatility as a lineman. He's bounced around throughout his career, but he's playing right guard. Watch him right in the middle do a nice job against the most talented defensive lineman, Mathis, who eventually grabs a hold of the face mask.
Look who's in there, Kirk. Jordan Davis, big number 99, about 360. 7th snap that he's played this season on offense. They have a very good scoring percentage when 99 comes in to block. He's also carried the ball once.
He's over on the left side.
And Zeus White muscles in. The first touchdown of this championship game. And Georgia claims its first lead.
Almost 700 pounds to follow for White. Carter, and there's the big fella right here. Watch this move right to the inside. Boom! The push, the power, the strength, and a touchdown for White.
Call it thunder and lightning. Well, lightning struck to put him in scoring position, and then thunder. White powers in for his 11th touchdown run of the season. At Leslie's PAT makes it a 4-point Georgia lead. The Dogs are in front now.
Watch this snap on his touchdown.
Not cleanly handled, was it?
No, it got away from Stetson Bennett. How fortunate is he to hold on to that ball? We're all caught up in the big guys, right? We're looking out there. Oh my gosh, look at Jordan Davis, look at Jalen Carter. And look at Stetson Bennett with his center down low in the goal line, trying to get the snap and then extend. He's pulling away. And for a guy that's always in a shotgun, it sounds silly, but it's a tough snap under center for a guy that doesn't take a lot of snaps under center. Good job of holding on to that and then getting it to White to follow the big boys into the end zone.
That's a fingertip save by Bennett. You know the adrenaline's turning. They waited a long time to get near the end zone. And finally, it's James Cook, who is an electric playmaker. And a big touchdown against Bama. And the loss by the Dogs in the regular season a year ago was a serious problem for Michigan. And he has brought this place alive. Georgia faithful making noise on their feet. And Camarda drives it deep. Curtis Wilson of the All-State bus. Been cruising all around this country. Got to take a turn of the 8500 there.
That's
that
pretty
actual,
cool.
Or is that simulation?
I don't know.
What's your celebration All-State moment?
I think we got to go back to the Iron Bowl. Think about this. You don't have Jamison Williams. They need a big drive. They get it into overtime, and then eventually they win it. But Bryce Young, to me, had an incredible moment there and a tough night for that offensive line, giving up 7 sacks, and they find a way to win in a rivalry game.
Georgia favored because they've been by far the most consistent and dominant team. You look at the 4 common opponents, and 3 of the 4 a big difference, margin of victory for Georgia. But none of that matters when it's head-to-head. And Alabama, as they have the last 4 wins against Georgia, Kirk going to have to come from behind again. That's Holden with the catch.
But who else would you want under center than Bryce Young? Well, you could maybe say Mac Jones or 2. I'm not saying
guys.
yeah, but I'm just saying that the poise and the decision making and the accuracy and everything he has demonstrated all year, even without his top 2 receivers, still has that same demeanor leading this team.
Robinson, you're exactly right. His dad, Craig, is a mental health counselor. Bryce was provided at a young age, Kirk, with the tools to just tune out the static off the field and on the field and just find that calm place where you can improvise and be creative.
It's very rare to see a guy that has a feel of just being able to play your best. And especially as young as he is on this big a stage, he's going to need it tonight.
You need it right now. It's raucous. 3rd and 3. Pressure. All out. Catch made by Holden, is stepping up into a roll here. Much needed first down. And Ringo.
Back shoulder throw to a guy he doesn't have a lot of work with in Holden. And he gets hit as he throws. Wyatt is down. Once again, Wyatt actually hit him as he made the throw. I mean, can't believe he got the ball out. Looks like he's looking at his left hand. 95, Wyatt working through, gets pressure. Ball is thrown perfectly for the first down.
Georgia up 4. Final quarter of the championship game coming up. End of 3. Stick around. Something big is coming during the break from the Bob's Burgers movie. Only in theaters beginning May 27th.
Are you hungry?
But I'm Tom Brady.
Oh, and there's smashed avocado, too.
Maybe skate in that canal tomorrow. It's going to be so cold tonight. 5G connected drone cam provided by AT&T 5G. Ready for the final quarter here in Indy. The CFP National Championship game presented by AT&T. Georgia playing from behind all night, a field goal duel until White busted in late in the third quarter, and now Bryce Young minus Jamison Williams, who's out for the game, trying to answer. Straight back on first down, underneath. Catch made by the reliable Slade Bolden, who's been targeted frequently tonight. 7th catch. Robinson, Scene slams into him, wrestles him down. There's a flag. Backfield.
Personal foul, illegal
hands
to the face defense. Number 33, 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the run. First down.
See Evan Neal's reaction.
Came off, they remain in the game.
Evan Neal letting Beal know that he didn't appreciate that. Evan Neal, by the way, is an impressive guy too, coming into that meeting room yesterday. 33 gets his hands up, eventually knocks that helmet off. I mean, I don't know if he initially engaged and got it loose, and then a push to the shoulder made the helmet come off, but right call by the official there.
Cost him 15 and made the big man mad. The number 3 overall prospect on McShay's board for the draft. Suddenly Bama inside the 35. Young launching downfield. Catch is made by Hall. Dropped one earlier. No mistake that time. He beat Chris Smith.
They brought a safety blitz off the edge, created one-on-one right here. Bryce Young, he had a lot of this in the SEC championship game. Time to throw, and you're right. This time, the freshman secures the ball for that big gain.
At 28, first and goal. End zone. Incomplete. There was a tight window, tried to find Hall again. Keely Ringo in coverage.
I love that he went right back to him. How impressive is that? Hall dropped a big-time throw near the end of that third quarter. Shows you how much Bryce Young, what he thinks of him and what his potential is and how he believes in the young man. Even though he hasn't played on this kind of stage, comes back, makes the big play, then he almost finds him in the end zone for the touchdown.
That drop set up the blocked field goal, came up empty in that possession. But Hall trying to set up a touchdown here to put the Tide back on top. Play clock's winding down. 4-3. They snap it just in time. Robinson running left, Scene hit him, and Walker came there to help. It'll be third and goal.
Yeah, the timing of that. Bryce Young just trying to make sure everything was right. It's a tough defense to run the football, and they slant and angle those defensive linemen. The linebackers and safeties are just a couple yards off the line of scrimmage. And then the timing, you know, the 3, 2, and 1, and he's clapping fast to try to get the ball. Kind of disrupted things a bit.
Kind of play that could decide this championship game. Long way to go. Can the Tide finally find the end zone on third down?
Here's his veteran.
Bolden moves to the right. Dogs bring pressure. And that influenced the throw. Trayshawn Hold'em is in the end zone. Young knocked down. They are getting after the Heisman winner tonight.
Yeah, he got a little bit frustrated with himself. He looks here and then eventually to the outside where Holden is. Quick look to does he have him? Comes off of Bolden, and because he waited on Bolden, by the time he threw it to Holden, he just didn't have enough time. That pressure again from Georgia disrupting things.
So I thought that maybe Saban might go for it. If you don't get the go-ahead touchdown, you pin him back. Instead, he sends out Rijkaard from 21, and he does not get through. So the 4th field goal from Rijkaard in 5 attempts. 72-play drive, but Bryce Young frustrated at the end of the drive, wanted a touch. 1-point game. 12:59 to play in Indy.
And online at toyotaofcareer.com.
Well, we wondered if Georgia would be able to run the ball. In the first half, it didn't look good at all. They were struggling, 26 yards, but they got it going. The very first series, you could see Zamir White, gain of 11, gain of 19, was able to shake away from the safety Helms. And then the next series, even they went to a flea flicker that they didn't come away with any points. And then Kirby decides he wants to race James Cook. It's a race, but Cook, again, a huge gain for 67 yards. So the running game and the balance, which is what Georgia's all about, looking more like their comfort zone here so far in the second half.
Kirby, an all-SEC defensive back, but didn't have Cook kind of speed. Pretty good effort, though.
It was. Shows that excitement he has.
Talked about how the running games of both sides were really contained in the first half. Cook with that electric 67-yard run. White steadily getting it going, scored the touchdown. And now Georgia with the football and the lead. Can they finish? They've had the lead every time against Bama the last 4.
And the reason that running game is so important is it puts Stetson Bennett in a position with play action when the safeties start thinking about the running game.
White with the first down carry, made a cut, and then falls forward for about 5. And they started him with Zeus. Got that nickname in high school because he built like Zeus. Right, still is.
He sure is. Even at their walkthrough yesterday, so many impressive athletes for Georgia, but I don't know, White you could put up there with anybody. And I love how they complement each other. White, known for his power and physicality, and Cook, quickness and catching the ball in the backfield.
Cook's in there now. It's a fake play. This is McConkey coming around there. There's a little bit of trickery, but Christian Harris again disrupted the play, and it's a loss.
Well, how about Will Anderson? I thought he was offsides. He has such get off the edge. Look at that. I mean, we almost have to go super slow-mo to see if he was actually onside, and I think he was. But that's him getting into that backfield affected the timing of trying to come back the other way.
It's a tough ask for Bennett to make a block on Anderson. He kind of kept him out of the way, but you're right, the timing was hopeless.
That's more of a screen, not a block.
Well, that loss after a nice first down gain makes it 3rd and 8. Here comes the pressure. Bennett immediately on the run. He'll be chased down. Tries to make a desperation heave. Harris had him in the grass. That ball nowhere near back to the line of scrimmage.
No, I think he was calling that. I don't know if that ball came out of his hand before his arm came forward, but the referee was right there.
Discussing whether perhaps was a fumble. He
threw the beanbag down.
Rolling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Alabama.
Alabama recovered that? I need to see this again. And
I know it was out of bounds. The ball bounced. How about again, Harris? You saw 31, Anderson. We're going to definitely, obviously, take a look at this, but the ball bouncing looked like it went out of bounds.
But for sure it did. Let's see another angle to see what happened to the football.
Right here. On the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. If it is determined that it is a forward pass, there's no receiver in the area, and we will have a foul for intentional grounding. The previous play is under further review.
Couple things to look at. Branch kind of nonchalant. I think he thought it was an incomplete pass. He didn't pay attention to where his foot was when he grabbed the football, and it did appear that his toe was on the paint.
I think at the very least, if it is in fact a fumble, he's out of bounds before he's able to possess the football with the right toe.
Bill, there's a lot of stuff to sort out here. First of all, was it a pass or a fumble?
This one's a barn burner. You know, it looks like the ball's tipping up and he's losing control.
Yeah.
Now, as far as it going out of bounds, if it's a fumble, it's out of bounds. What I would disagree with is intentional grounding, because the hit really altered the throw and his ability to get it anywhere near someone.
Are they looking at the ball in the hand? As that hand comes forward, the ball is dislodged? Is that what they're trying to determine? As before that arm came forward, the ball comes out?
If any part of that hand is coming forward, it's going to be a pass.
You know, Peter Voss, the ACC replay official, There's a lot to sort out here, but it's enormously important. Let's say it is ruled a fumble here. Take a look at the foot of Branch.
He is in battle. Wow, from that angle.
Is there zoom in? Is there green?
Just a little bit. Yeah, that right. I thought that right. Wow, that's in bounds. He had no idea. He had no idea that he potentially recovered that.
He thought that's incomplete. I'll go catch this ball on the bounce. It could end up being a critical, decisive play.
Bill, is it safe to say that toe is in?
Yes, I have him in bounds with that last view we have.
Okay, that's a great view there.
I also have the ball up out of his hand before the hand comes forward. So I'm going with fumble on this one.
This two-part review, and this place is holding his breath. Will the tie be set up at the 15-yard line?
Talk about a 13-12 low-scoring game. I mean, this call is going to go a long way in determining the outcome of this game.
As Stetson Bennett say, please rule that an incomplete pass and not another crucial turnover against Alabama.
And again, let's not forget the job that this Alabama defense did on third down of pressuring the quarterback. Will Anderson got in there. His pressure flushed him, but Christian Harris has had a day. His move in the inside, chasing down Stetson Bennett with his speed, pulling him down.
From Bill's view, that ball is out of the hand before it comes forward.
The ruling on the field stands. Alabama football at the 16-yard line.
Wow. So it's ruled a fumble, and although he didn't think it was going to be a fumble recovery, Brian Branch, by an inch, keeps the toe in the field as he nonchalantly grabs the football.
Yeah.
And the Tider set up at the 15.
Let's give Brian Branch. He knew exactly what he was doing. just for the story. But what a turn of events. And it's the defensive pressure led by Harris and Anderson that causes that. And now Bryce Young, after the frustration of not hitting that third down and have to settle for a field goal, they're back in the red zone where they have 3 attempts and 3 field goals. They've not scored a touchdown down here yet tonight.
Normally a very efficient offense in the red zone. Young, high snap. Robinson running left. And while they're operating on the left side of the field, a whole bunch of folks are on the right side collecting debris that's been thrown on the field. Unhappy Georgia fans. 2nd and 6.
How about after all this, the battle at the line of scrimmage? It's had its ebbs and flows, and now down here, let's see who can suck it up and win that battle.
Young launches for the end zone, caught! It's Holden, but he could not get the foot down in bounds. Ringo was right there with him.
I think Ringo got away with a hold. When Holden came out of his cut.
Passer, defense, 95. After distance to the goal, automatic. First down.
Devontae Wyatt has roughed Young.
Yeah, he hit him with his left hand. I was kind of caught up in watching the coverage with Ringo where he grabbed onto the hip of Holden when he went outside, but watch the follow through in the left hand. Bang! Right to the face. An easy call for the referee. And a mental mistake by a veteran who knows better. And Devontae Wyatt just out of bounds, close with the AT&T 5G pylon cam there.
Another major penalty for Georgia sets up Bama at the 6. Robinson knocked down at the 3 by Seam.
Ekior on the right side, the right guard. We just talked about the battle at the line of scrimmage. Really good push down there, helping out the center, Seth McLaughlin. Hard to run on Georgia down here, but Bama giving it a try.
Only allowed 3 rushing touchdowns all season. play fake. Ball batted down at the line. It was Seen who came off the edge. It'll be 3rd and goal.
Seen right here, just gets around, trying to set up a pick with Holden getting just to the inside. They sent Latu, the tight end, off of his edge, off of his backside to the corner. But Seen takes it away by just batting it down, and another 3rd down.
Pressure. Young. Touchdown! On the run, he found Latu. Tide's first touchdown, and Alabama reclaims the lead with 10:14 to play. In a full sprint, he found a kneeling tight end in the end zone.
Latu here, and I want you to watch what he does at the top of his route. See him push there at the end of the route, gets the separation. The defensive back's on his backside. The safety, Christopher Smith, nothing he could do. The bigger Latu at 250 pounds, kind of throwing him and then getting back inside in man-to-man coverage. No one there to pick him up.
And the chart says up 5, you go for 2. Alabama's been successful. They're 4 for 4 on 2-point conversions this season. Funky look, diamond formation to the left.
101 to the top.
Young on the run. Smith trying to chase him down. Tyndall's there too. But the speed of Nolan Smith spoils the play, and the lead is still 5.
People want to talk about how are 2 SEC teams in a national championship. It's the speed in the front, the defensive line, and the linebackers. Latu open because of that nice push-off. The safety on Smith, the officials didn't call it. 2-pointer, he looks left, he has the one-on-one, but then he's going to use his speed to get to the corner, and Nolan Smith keeps him short of that 2-pointer.
AT&T is America's most reliable 5G network, so now you'll never...
With people you love, feels like.
The College Football Playoff National Championship is presented by AT&T. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, and secure. And in part by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And Chick-fil-A. Stay cozy with a cup of chicken tortilla soup. Available for a limited time.
Saban said he never went from angry to euphoric within a few seconds like that play. Angry at the sack that Tagovailoa took. He elated at the 2nd and 26 touchdown.
In fact, he said he was frustrated as the snap of the ball and the ball is in the air. He still was frustrated, and then he throws his headsets off after Devontae Smith scores to win it.
So the margin is 5. Now if you're Stetson Bennett, Kirk, and you've got this history against Alabama, made a bunch of good plays, made some turnovers, you've taken care of the ball tonight until that fumble. Now you find yourself down 5. You got to find a way to get to the end zone. Josh leaves it there. Check out tonight's Capital One premium plays.
Well, we've had an interesting second half. Let's start with this Bama pressure, getting after him. This is like, at this point, the play of the game. We just thought it might was an incompletion. Instead, it's a fumble and a recovery by Branch to set up Alabama's only touchdown. A heck of an effort by Bryce Young, throwing all the way across his body to hit the tight end Latu for that touchdown.
Who can make a play? It was Pickens earlier with the long catch. Cook with the electric run. And now on first down, Bennett was a long throw. And it's Burton who makes the play. McKinstry pushes him out. First down across the 40.
Wow, good route on 1st and 10. They've been running. They've been running. They've been running. Nice big cushion. Play action. Corner McKinstry is losing ground. He's dropping, turns his hips. And then the out cut. And a good throw by Stetson Bennett, right hash all the way out there to the left sideline.
You're suddenly behind the Tide, Kirk. It's a good start to a drive, build some confidence, 18 yards. Bennett on the move, looking downfield, launches, and absolutely tackled on the play was Burton. Kyrie Jackson was beaten cold and perhaps saved the touchdown.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 6. 15-yard penalty.
It was a matter of time with his inexperience that they would give him that stutter and go, that double move. He's out there on his own. We just saw a great route by Burton, stutter and go, and instead of giving up that touchdown, I'm not listening to Coach Saban after this game. No way. I'm grabbing a hold of him. I'm tackling him. He's not scoring a touchdown. He was beaten on a great route and a great call, but he made the right call. In college football, it's 15 yards.
Jackson and McKinstry stepping in because Josh Jobe and Jalen Armour-Davis, their 2 best corners, out injured. Bennett looking to throw again, finds McIntosh, who bobbles it, holds on barely at the marker in front of Branch. He made it adventurous.
Boy, Todd Monken deciding, all right, 9 minutes to go, 9.5, 10 minutes to go. We're going to come out. We're going to give the ball to Stetson Bennett. What a great concentration by McIntosh against Branch to hold on to that, and he gets the first down. I mean, these first 3 plays, couple nice routes, throwing the football, being aggressive, trying to attack this Bama defense.
I don't see many triple bobble catches. Right. Bowers hasn't yet gotten involved in this half. Keep in mind the tight end is their top receiver. Bennett hammered, pressured, and knocked down from behind. It was Dallas Turner for the 2nd time tonight.
So they decide enough is enough. Turner's right here. They're also going to bring the corner, but it's 15 that ends up being able to get home, working on the tight end there. Fitzpatrick, I'll tell you what a future this true freshman Dallas Turner has. Reminds you a lot like Will Anderson. I'm not comparing him to Will Anderson, but I'm just saying his dimensions for a young guy, about 6'4", 245 pounds, and he pressures the quarterback with that same relentless approach.
And that's too much speed and power for a pretty good blocking tight end, Fitzpatrick. Now another flag. Bennett launching. Mitchell. Caught it. Touchdown, Georgia. With a free play, the Dogs retake the lead.
Offside. Defense. Number 50. That is decline. Touchdown.
What a drive for Stetson Bennett. 40-yard touchdown to finish it.
Well, he had a free play. Great feel. Great recognition. He sees Tim Smith jump. He says, what the heck? Let's go to the young corner. We've gone after him here a little bit on this drive. Let's take a shot with my freshman Mitchell against Jackson. Ball underthrown just a bit. Jackson never turns to find the ball. And a great job again by a Georgia player locking in to secure the football.
Dogs have not tried a 2-point conversion this season. Haven't had a need to until right now. So a chance to go up 3. Cook is the back. Bowers to the right. They hand it to Cook. They try to run it in around the edge, and that doesn't work against the Tide. No chance. It was Dallas Turner again.
I keep thinking that's 31. it's 15. What a job by Stetson Bennett and this Georgia defense. Remember, last series, they fumbled the ball. It looks like all the momentum's in favor of Bryce Young and Alabama after they score that touchdown, and they come back with that drive.
Field goal fest early. Things are heating up in Indy. Dogs on top. 8:09 to play.
Home and car insurance at geico.com.
Here's a touchdown.
Yeah, this is a heck of a throw by Stetson Bennett. Has a free play, offsides. Mitchell comes back, makes the play.
There's AT&T 5G pylon camp. The coverage was airtight. Hand strength for Mitchell, a freshman out of Texas.
And we knew these young, inexperienced corners. I mean, Kool-Aid McKinstry has played some this year, but Kyrie Jackson has not played as much.
And Kirk coming off that controversial fumble that set up Bama's go-ahead touchdown. Bennett 3 for 3 on the drive. It's no overstatement to say that the former preferred walk-on from Blackshears, Georgia's legacy is kind of on the line in this game tonight. The fumble would have been remembered forever. Yeah. Now it's a touchdown pass, which is the play of the moment.
In the next series. That's what's remarkable. I mean, how can you not love this kid and everything that he's been through? We got a long way to go here, but with 8:09, he just put the Dogs up by a point. And now it goes back to Bryce Young. Mr. Flatliner, Mr. Calm and cool and collected.
Although Georgia's done their best to rattle him tonight, and they've succeeded. And without Mechie and now without Jameson Williams, the job is harder. Robinson, they're all over number 4. They slam him down. Wyatt got there, and then big Jordan Davis slammed him down.
Yeah, they like to move, slant, and angle the defensive line to try to take away, especially into the boundary. On the inside, it's 95 there. Wyatt, who's the most underrated defensive lineman of all these talented, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Trevon Walker. 95 is really the leader of the group.
Now you got some inexperienced receivers. The youngest trying to get lined up here. Dean follows Robinson out to the right. Pressure comes. They're looking down the field, and it's incomplete. Overthrown for Hall, working against Darian Kendrick.
What a matchup. The young, talented wide receiver from Alabama against Kendrick, the crafty veteran transfer from Clemson who used to play receiver. Now he's a corner, never sees the football, but he's in phase. Close enough. They didn't give Hall much of a chance. Here we go, 3rd and long.
Dogs don't blitz. Young has time. Off the hands of Slade Bolden, who is covered tightly by William Poole, and the Dogs defense gets a stop.
Wow. William Poole came in late in the year for Latavius Brini because he can cover. What a job here of trailing Bolden and then anticipating that inside route. I just really felt he was expecting him to work inside. And he's able to get that long left arm around him to knock that ball away without using that right hand as leverage to have pass interference.
Burnip to punt. Kearis Jackson is 35. High boot. Jackson comes up, makes a fair catch. If you're William Poole, that's why you go to practice and go to meetings and study. Finally called into serious duty late in the season, making a huge play in the championship game. Dogs get it back. 7:10 to play.
I'm the latest.
Let's look at the last couple drives for Georgia. Chris talked about this. Tough play here late in the game. Ruled a fumble on the field. Confirmed. Touchdown for Alabama. He comes right back. Gain of 18, a PI, gain of 10, a sack, and then a good block by James Cook. Heaves it downfield. He's got an opportunity to make a play. And he gets the touchdown to give Georgia the lead. Now the question is, with the lead at this point in the game, after that drive where they were clearly aggressive with the play calling, what does Todd Monken do? How does he attack?
I mean, the trust in Bennett was rewarded in the last drive. You trust him to keep throwing here. Cook, it's about 4 on first down.
Remember, the second half has been what Georgia fans have seen all year, except for 4 quarters when they were 3 quarters when they played Alabama in the SEC championship. So running the football and mixing up with play action, that's who they are. So that last drive was just, we're going after it. We're going to throw, and it worked out. But I think they go back to being who they are.
Brock Bowers has been contained all night. The tight end with 52 catches coming in has made 3. Not an impact play yet. White with a power run out near midfield, and the Dogs move the sticks and bleed some more clock.
Again, they're pulling around a couple of the big linemen. Schaefer does a good job of coming around. Left tackle, the young freshman Jones coming around. But really, that play opens up because the right side collapses the Bama defensive line to give those big linemen some room to come around.
It's not the 4-minute offense we talk about, Kirk, because there's more than 6 minutes to go, but Georgia hoping for a similar kind of plan.
At the very least, they're trying to get 3 points on this drive to make it a 4-point game.
And once again, powering straight ahead is White.
Now we've seen Alabama have some moments, but 1 touchdown on the night. You get a field goal here, Bryce Young needs a touchdown. I mean, they'd obviously love to get 6, but at the very least, they want to try to get into field goal range.
Using some clock, reducing the number of potential possessions for Young would be nice too from a Georgia perspective. They'll take 5 yards on first down every time against this defense. White again. Hammers for another first down inside the Bama 40. What a statement.
Absolutely. Schaefer right here pushing to this double team. Watch this hole open up and watch White get downhill in a hurry. The left tackle, man, Jones does a nice job as well, kicking outside, turning his back. 59 off to your right. He turns his back to that hole and just opens up for White.
Phil Mathis was there on the tackle, number 48, and he's being looked at by the athletic trainers down on one knee. And the Georgia fans energized. They can feel it. They have waited 4 decades for a championship. They've been denied 4 trophies by Saban. 3 SEC championships, and of course the national championship in their own backyard 4 seasons ago.
I just can't believe the way this game went in Atlanta 37 days ago. Georgia walked out of that game humiliated. They didn't just lose. They were tired. They got beat at the line of scrimmage. And they talked for 37 days about trying to get to that championship, trying to get another shot against Alabama, and showing that they're better than they played that day, and getting physical and being dominant and playing their style of ball. Still have a long way to go, but you're starting to feel some of that momentum going that direction.
Kirk, you talked about the challenge that perhaps Smart gave to that offensive line on halftime, which was getting whipped up front. What a display of power football on this drive. 4 plays, all of them rushes. As Mathis has helped off that shoulder the concern. He's a big part of that defensive front.
Big part and a great leader all year. A veteran presence.
Grimacing in pain. The Tide will have to try to make a stop here without their vocal leader.
Brian Ray comes in, who's a veteran himself, has dealt with injuries his whole career.
It's been Cook and White alternating. Cook in now on first down. Play action. Bennett launches and it's incomplete. Overthrown for Pickens against McKinstry, and there's a flag down. Pickens wasn't going to get anywhere near the football.
Well, the reason he wasn't, McKinstry cut him off.
Pass interference. Defense, number 1. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Bill, I don't know how you saw that. To me, McKinstry didn't allow Pickens to get around him.
Yeah, he stayed in front of him and blocked him off from getting to the ball. Pass interference.
Yeah, he locks him up.
You know, Kirk, we haven't seen one yet, but pass interference penalties have been one of Alabama's Achilles heel all season long. They could have got Anderson for a late hit on Bennett, by the way. They didn't throw a second flag, but that PI moves the ball to the 24.
A couple PIs here late in this game against Jackson, and there's one against McKinstry.
Back to White, who patiently navigates his way and continues to drive his legs and gets pushed by the pile. And the dogs are barking. Their fans enjoyed that mosh pit.
Chris, I just can't tell you. I mean, that's not just a good run. That's a group effort. Again, I go back to the humiliation, the release of that humiliation. It's a good job of setting this up. White's running hard, but watch as he gets held up. Watch the linemen get off the ground. Look at them get up. They want to be a part of that. Woo! Almost late there by Schaefer. That could have cost him, but just the intent and the purpose to try to show as a group.
Careful,
they want to help.
A belly flop on top of the pile.
Yeah.
Could cost you 15. There's a timeout taken.
Georgia.
Play clock was down to 2.
He has momentum. He had momentum, rhythm. They were attacking. It's like a boxer that's got the advantage late in the ring, and the bell rings, and you get to go to your corner and catch your breath. That's why Kirby was so frustrated there.
I love the analogy. We enjoy our fights ringside. after the game. Stay tuned for the Ram Trucks post-game show here on ESPN. They'll review and recap and analyze this from every conceivable angle. 4:05 to play. Second down and 3.
I'm telling you, man, that last play for me, if Georgia wins this game, that last play, I know we've had some excitement here. What that last play symbolized for me is what Georgia's been about for 37 days. I don't know if they're going to win this game, but I just love to see that effort there by the team trying to help out White.
It's Cook back in the game, keeping these backs very fresh down the stretch. Pitch to Cook, and fights off a tackler in the backfield with a stiff arm, and says he's got a first down at the 19.
And it'll depend on the spot. I thought Dallas Turner had a chance to get him, but he does a nice job with that stiff arm right there to get away from a potential loss, and then tries to reach out. Hellam's tackle, he keeps his knees up and stretches out, comes up short.
I don't like the spot at all. It's 3rd and 1. They're going to throw for it. Bowers has got it. He's got a blocker. Touchdown, Georgia. And here's a flag down, though. Hold on. There's a flag near the line of scrimmage. Bennett says it's on Bama.
I think they hit him. I think they hit Stetson Bennett after he released the football. Jordan Battle on a blitz came through and hit Stetson Bennett in the face.
You had a feeling the guy as talented as Brock Bowers, who's made an impact from the moment he arrived on campus, had a big game in the opener against Clemson.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 9, defense. The result of the play is a touchdown. That 15-yard penalty will be carried over to the ensuing kick.
Scored a late touchdown in a losing cause. Took him a long time, Kirk, tonight to get involved, but that is a massive play.
Bama
with the PAT.
Yeah, Bama really rolled the dice there with that blitz package.
But Lesney, perfect on PATs so far this season, does make it an 8-point game. 3:33 to go.
But they brought Jordan Battle along with Dallas Turner. The problem is, here's the pressure here. Nobody picks up Brock Bowers. Eventually, Toe thinks, I got to get out there, but his eyes were in the backfield. There you can see Battle hit Stetson Bennett, but nobody out there. And Bowers is able to get free and walk into the end zone. Bama kind of rolling the dice, hoping that they would get to Bennett. Nobody takes Brock Bowers. That's an easy touchdown. And here's the follow-through by Battle, who, by the way, had the pick 6 in the SEC championship game. And this time, Bennett says, yeah, that's a touchdown.
A 62-yard drive in 7 plays. The important thing is to build to the lead. They also took 3:37 off the clock. What a capper for a sensational season for Brock Bowers. Just mature beyond his years, a physical freak. Smart, savvy, hard-working football player. And a very tough matchup for almost every defense. Todd did a tremendous job on him all night, but lost track of him there when the blitz came.
Well, they pressured all night. You know, Bear brings up an interesting point, Chris Felica, in my ears, saying, you know, they could have theoretically taken that penalty on the 2-point play, maybe gone for 2 and put this game away, but instead they decided to use it here on the kickoff.
Of course, it's driven into the crowd this season, along with their contributions to the university's general scholarship funds for every field goal and PAT made. Allstate also donated to the American Red Cross to help with disaster relief efforts. Thank you, Allstate. So now Bryce Young needs to march the Tide 75 yards for a touchdown and then come up with a 2-point play. Try to force, are you ready for this? Overtime.
I'm game.
It's a big job the way the Dogs defense has been barking lately.
How great is this to give Bryce Young the ball? Needs a touchdown and a 2-pointer with 3:33 to go. Heisman winner.
Quickly underneath to Holden, one of the new guys being asked to step in and make plays. Quay Walker was right there.
You talked all week about neither one of these offenses necessarily needing a lot of work in games with 2-minute drill. You thought maybe it might come down to a 2-minute drill, and you and I said, man, they work on it in practice, but practice isn't this stage.
Brooks knocked down. Here comes a 3rd down play. And that's what we've been talking about. Just had a feeling that in an even matchup, maybe either Bennett or Bryce Young were going to be asked to come up with something they haven't been able to really execute. Young went, of course, that drive against Auburn.
Yeah, of course.
That was pressure drive.
I think that was his Heisman moment. The difference is he doesn't have Mechie. That drive, he didn't have Jameson Williams, and now he doesn't have either one.
3rd and 4. Georgia brings pressure. Young backpedals and delivers a strike across the middle to Robinson. 1st down to the 43.
This is a great look at this out of the backfield, but watch the bunch of defensive backs get caught up right here. They're man-to-man. The tight end creates that screen. The linebacker can't get around it to Kobe Dean, and a heck of a screen there by the tight end to open that up.
Clock moving. 2:14. Robinson right into the big arms of Devontae Wyatt. No gain.
Tell you, man. I know Jordan Davis gets a lot of attention. He should. Trayvon Walker gets a lot of attention. Even Jalen Carter. All these guys are going to be superstars in the NFL, and so is Devontae Wyatt. Guy that lost 40 pounds coming into this year. Runs a 4.8 as a defensive lineman, and tonight has been making a lot of plays.
They've worked on their stamina. Worked in their legs to be ready for late game situations. Let's see if that pays off. Bama going to run their 75th play. Big edge in that department. Young has a lot of time now. Escapes on the run. Delivers. It's Latu, and the tight end has a 1st down inside the Georgia 45. Stopped by Walker.
Well, you're looking for guys to get separation. Watch this route, and it starts to become almost a backyard football deal. He's running left, and now he's back here. He's got to work back to his right, gets that separation from Quay Walker.
And the Tide do crank the tempo. Young off his back foot, launches downfield. Battle for the ball, incomplete. Tried to find Brooks. Smith was there, along with Kendrick.
Yeah, I think Christopher Smith makes the play. Kendrick, who's the MVP of the Orange Bowl, never saw the football. Brooks did, and he went up to make a play on it, but it was 29, the safety, who reads the eyes of Bryce Young, that went up there and got his hands on the ball. Great play by 29.
Minute 14 to go. This is it. This is the possession that Bryce Young will have to convert to a touchdown and a 2-pointer. Protection is there. Downfield launch. Oh, trying to make a one-handed catch was Brooks again. Kendrick in coverage. It's 3rd and 10.
Wow, this is a break for Georgia. Seeing the safety went down, Kendrick misses at the line of scrimmage. He's beaten off the ball. Ball is thrown exactly where it needs to be to Brooks over his outside shoulder. I don't know if he lost the ball as he's running, but got to get that second hand up there and come down with that catch. And again, you wonder whether Jameson Williams, that's a different deal for Bama.
Biggest 3rd down in Bryce Young's career. You need 10. Play clock at 4. From the pocket, launching downfield, underthrown and intercepted. Keely Ringo has an escort down the sidelines. All the way to the end zone, and Georgia is going to conquer the Crimson Tide. The sweet irony not lost on the Georgia faithful. It was a pick 6 that doomed them in round 1 in Atlanta. And now a pick 6 has sealed it. And Keely Ringo, who plays for his mom, who's been battling breast cancer in recent years, she works hard to attend the games of her son. She was there at the SEC championship game, and look at the tears.
Oh, man. Yeah, let's just take that in right there. Good for 13, man. Good for Stetson Bennett.
And a spectacular season for the Heisman Trophy winner. This was not his finest moment. Without his main weapons, Kirk, he just tried to force a play.
Yeah, he's to the outside. The receiver's to the outside. Bryce, he didn't get pressure, but I don't know if he's expecting a back shoulder throw or bringing Holden back, whatever it might have been. But unlike Kendrick, Ringo gets his eyes on the ball, and he sees that it's underthrown and adjusts back and makes that interception. As you said, he had a convoy in front of him. It wasn't just about securing this. And look at Kirby in the background. That's elevation. That was 38 inches right there by Kirby Smart.
We saw the speed earlier. There's the vertical jump.
Yeah.
Ringo, as a freshman, his first interception. Taken to the house, and a former defensive back. Very close now to delivering a national championship to his alma mater.
1980. Herschel Walker, Vince Dooley. It's the last time Georgia's won a national championship. We have Georgia fans in front of us. I can't imagine what's going on in the state of Georgia and Georgia Bulldog Nation all across the country and what they're feeling right now.
They have a watch party in Segment Coliseum back in Athens. The party will quickly spill out into the streets of a very festive college town.
There's Bryce Young, who's had an amazing year as a Heisman Trophy winner in his first year as a starter. Just so many storylines. The way the game unfolded in the SEC championship. Georgia having to go back to work to try to get ready to beat Michigan, hope for a second chance, and they get it. And this kid right here, man, you got to, if you don't know his story, we've talked about it tonight, they could almost make a movie on Stetson Bennett and what he's been through, how nobody believed in him. And he climbs the mountain as the leader of this team and wins the national title.
Plays down in Blackshear. Pierce County's a 3A football again. He had some mid-major offers, but not from his dream school. So he goes as a preferred walk-on, not playing. Jones County Junior College in Mississippi, plays there. Kirby Smart offers as a scholarship, but he's buried in the depth chart, Kirk. He's number 3 at the start of the season.
Hey, no, you got to go back when he leaves to junior college. He comes to Georgia. They go get DeJuan Mathis as a 5-star. Jamie Newman transfers from Wake Forest. JT Daniels comes from USC. He's as far as you can see on the depth chart. His own fans never really bought into him being the guy. A lot of them wanted JT Daniels. He and his teammates are the only ones that believed he was the guy to be their quarterback. Plays with a chip on his shoulder.
And all that pent-up stuff. The emotion came flowing. He burst into tears as soon as he saw that pick six taken back by Ringo.
That'll get you, man. That'll get you. Look at that.
Alabama led by 5 with 10:14 to play. Georgia responded with 3 touchdowns in little more than 7 minutes. Young checks it down to Robinson. He's not going to escape Quay Walker.
All this talk about Alabama, what they call them, is they become the boogeyman to you. I mean, I felt bad, Kirby and his players answering some of the questions that they got. Is it mental? Can you get over the edge? What is it? It's called Alabama beats everybody. They're really good. And Georgia put together a plan in that second half. Give them credit. The adjustments by Todd Monken on offense. Kirby Smart challenging his team at halftime. Dan Lanning, who's going to Oregon tomorrow morning to become the head coach for the Ducks, finishing the deal and winning this championship.
The program, of course, modeled on Alabama. Smart takes so much from what he learned from Saban. They built this team to try to beat Bama. It's the only thing they hadn't done before tonight. A lot of pain, a lot of psychic scars from the Georgia players over the years, and certainly for a lot of the fans here in red.
And Kirby Smart, too. I mean, think about the questions he had to answer about going up against his former mentor, his coach. Came so close to beating him first couple times as a head coach going up against him. Had the lead and just couldn't hold on. Last year they get pulled. Bama pulls away. This year the humiliation at the SEC championship. And 37 days later they get revenge.
Brooks made that catch, and Kirby's quickly back to coaching again.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Still 43 seconds. Bama has 2 timeouts. Young to Brooks again. They work the sidelines, and they'll move the sticks into Georgia territory. And Took just 4 seconds.
Ringo looking like trying to talk to the coaches. I don't know if his left shoulder, left side. He's going to stay out on the field. What a game, man.
First 2 interception game of Bryce Young's career. And trying to operate without 2 elite receivers. Jameson Williams going out with an apparent knee injury in the second quarter. Pressure is picked up. Young backpedals and knocked down. No receiver in the area. Let's see if they have a conference about this one.
And Kirby's going crazy.
There wasn't any receiver within 15 yards of the ball.
But they're going to get together. I think Kirby's helping influence it. The only receiver was the running back, Brian Robinson, and he really wasn't that close.
Here comes the flag. It's been dropped. So this will be a loss of down. Move the ball back to the Bama 42.
Intentional grounding, offense, number 9. Loss of down at the spot of the foul, second down. The penalty carries a loss of down. Alabama has elected to use a timeout to avoid the 10-second runoff.
Chris, watch this. Watch this effort by this defensive line. There's Carter, Trevon Walker. They're climbing to try to get to him. Walker eventually hits him right as he throws it. They're just, again, another play very symbolic of this night by this defensive front.
You're spot on. We've had some great looks tonight from the crew. The pursuit, the relentless effort of that Georgia defensive front tonight, I think to me is similar to what you talked about, what's been pent up.
And they just showed Nakobe Dean. We do a lot of these player meetings the day before the game, and you and I, Holly, we enjoy the heck out of those. We always talk about how impressed we are with these kids. Nakobe Dean had a look in his eye that was just different. It was just, he was polite and gracious and talked to us, but there was a laser focus to bring Georgia what they needed tonight as a leader. We saw it all night, challenging his teammates in a very positive way.
Vince Dooley, 4 decades ago, he took a Georgia team into the Superdome and beat Notre Dame. And Georgia has come close, but hadn't got the brass ring until now in those 4 decades.
There are people crying, man. I mean, it's a huge deal. This is 41 years. I mean, wow.
Young sacked. That's fitting. Robert Beal Jr. got him.
Now that right tackle position has been a problem all year for Alabama. And on this play, one of the last plays of the game right here, Chris Owens, who's really more of a center, has been trying to play at right tackle most of this year, but he just gets pushed and Beal comes up with his sack.
The quarterback that's been really the hardest to rattle and fluster all season long in college football. Georgia, I think, successfully did that tonight. They made him feel uncomfortable a lot.
Yeah. And people are going to talk about Jameson Williams not being in this game and how it impacted. Of course, I mean, you're talking about one of the elite receivers in the country, and they had some chances. And these young receivers are going to grow from this experience, and they're going to be great down the road. They're just young guys, right? It's very different having talent versus having talent and experience. So, yeah, they missed Jameson Williams, but, man, I don't know. The way that second half started to go for Georgia, you just wonder if it would have really made that much of a difference.
Matu makes the catch, pinballs around some people, and is finally knocked down at the 50. Despite all that, they did have the lead, and then it was Georgia storming back for those 20 fourth quarter points. 3 touchdowns in about 7 minutes. Bennett responding after the fumble with a tremendous throw and catch. And then the pick 6 to seal it. And one more play for the Georgia defense. Georgia on the mountaintop. Demons be gone, and the drought is over. National champions at long last. So often it's been Saban consoling Smart. Mutual respect is obvious.
You can hear him say you kicked our butt there in the fourth quarter. But I honestly...
Look at this moment. The ex-walk-on and the 5-star Heisman Trophy winner. There's also mutual respect there. And we've talked so much about Stetson Bennett. There's a lot of heroes on the Georgia side, but you know, Bennett has, his story has kind of a Southern Gothic tone to it. And there is Kobe Dean. Let's go to Molly.
Coach is celebrating with his team and his quarterback Stetson Bennett.
God.
Coach, your freshman Keely Ringo with the pick 6 to seal the game. What was your reaction to that play?
Keely Ringo has been run the gamut this year. The kid has gotten so much better. I love the kid. I love his family. What a big play and a big moment. How about this university? How about these fans? This is a special moment for the University of Georgia, special moment for this team.
You said before the game your team had a hunger to them. How did you see that play out on the field?
I saw it at halftime. You know, there were people that said we weren't conditioned enough, and it pissed a lot of people off on our sideline, and they went to work. And before we came today, we burned the boats, and we came a fighting. And I'm proud of these men.
You worked under Nick Saban for 11 seasons. You lost this game against Alabama in 2017. How much sweeter does that make this win?
Well, that one will be with me for a long time, but this one will be with me for much longer. I'm proud of the University of Georgia, the support we get there. A lot of credit to Alabama, Coach Saban. They had a lot of injuries. You know, they lost Jameson Williams in a tough situation, but our kids kept fighting and never doubted.
After 41 years, the University of Georgia are national champions. How does that sound to you?
I hope it doesn't take that long again. Go Dogs.
Congratulations on the win, Coach.
Thank you.
Holly, take it away.
Stetson, when you were 3 years old, you told your dad you'd be the starting quarterback at Georgia. How does your resilience and your fight keep you in this moment ready to win right now?
Yeah, I mean, I just knew there was going to be no way we were going to let a turnover like that stop us from winning a national championship. There's no way. I wasn't going to let that happen. I wasn't going to be the reason we lost tonight.
After that turnover, you went 3 for 3 on the next drive. How did you get your mind turned quickly to that?
I had to. Otherwise, we were going to lose because they were up. You know, they capitalized on that, and I was like, well, I gotta fix this.
So many times they tried to recruit over you. You thought about leaving, but you stuck around.
Yep.
Why?
Because I love this place. I love this team. I believe in myself. I think I'm the best quarterback, and you know, I just love everything about this place, and I want to win a national championship here.
What does your story and your stick around, your fight, your attitude say to all of the underdogs, all of the walk-ons out there?
I mean, I have no clue. I hope it's you know, give somebody a little hope. Just keep fighting, keep your mouth shut, work hard. You know, life's tough. You just got to fight through it.
What was the toughest moment that you went through that you stuck through and came out the other end?
You know, just all the ups and downs, man. But these guys. I mean, I don't even know what to say right now. I have no idea.
You were crying on the sideline, so emotional.
Yeah.
How did that all bubble up within you?
It just hit me. I mean, it just hit me. I didn't even watch Keely score. I thought he went down right when he caught it. Because as soon as he caught it, I just teared up. I just wasn't planning on it. I mean, good Lord. Wow.
You're national champion, Stetson. How does that sound?
That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome.
Chris, back to you.
That's something. So the tears in his eyes, Kirk. He wasn't even watching Ringo take it back for the clinching pick 6. Then he just lost it. He said he wouldn't let that fumble be decisive. You hope for his sake he wouldn't be. Touchdowns on his last 2 pass attempts.
Unbelievable.
Bowers and Mitchell.
Yeah, just a great game. I mean, it was tight all the way through. Adjustments were made. Georgia's determination after that loss in the SEC championship game on full display, group effort, and a heck of a title game.
After that fumble, he didn't miss. 4 for 4, 83 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a relentless defensive performance by the Dogs, who have finally conquered the Crimson Tide, dethroned Bama, and they sit atop the mountain in college football. 33-18 is the final, and the 4-decade drought is over. Bill Bunnell produced the game. Derek Mobley directed it. Thanks to our entire crew. Much more coming up. Time now for the Ram Trucks postgame.
Thanks for watching this special presentation of ESPN, home of the College Football Playoff National Championship game, presented by AT&T.
And welcome back to the Ram Trucks postgame show. The confetti is still floating through the air inside Lucas Oil Stadium. The stage is being set up, and there's a bunch of hugging, crying, and kissing, and maybe the odd victory cigar on the Georgia side. Well, these two football teams, clearly the best all season long. They shared the top ranking. It was Georgia so dominant. It looked like it was Georgia and everybody else until they ran into the Crimson Freight Train in Atlanta, and right in their backyard, lost the conference title, stayed alive for the CFP because of what they'd done all season long, Kirk, but they'd waited for another chance, and they made it good on it.
Well, I mean, being around this team all year, championship teams have a kind of a inner belief and trust and love for one another. I don't care what year you go back and look at a team that finally gets to the top. There's just something that coaches hope is there, but you can't necessarily coach it. This Georgia team had that from the very beginning of the year in the game we called in Charlotte against Clemson. And it's led by guys like that. They've been through enough pain that this group came back with a purpose. It wasn't just winning a game. It was winning tonight. And I think that brotherhood is what other teams around the country can strive for and only hope for. But this year's Georgia team had it.
And Kirby Smart, as you say, JT Daniels, it was the opening night start of the game you mentioned against Clemson in Charlotte. Played a couple of games, got injured, and then stepped aside and offered what he could to Stetson Bennett.
You brought up a good point earlier tonight, or this afternoon. You said I went back and I looked at my board from the Clemson game week 1 and all the preparation we did. You know, Stetson Bennett wasn't even on our board in week 1 when they played Clemson. That was this year, buried on that depth chart.
Yeah, behind Daniels and Beck. At the end of the year, when it matters, he's the one carrying the cigar, and he'll have that trophy, no doubt. Stetson Fleming Bennett IV from Blackshear, Georgia, wins a championship for his home state team, which didn't want him at first, but offered him the second time. Georgia fans, congrats on being the national champions. You get all the official locker room merchandise right now with the official CFP Championship store. Go to shop.collegefootball.playoff.com.
That was former Georgia Bulldog Aaron Murray giving him a big hug.
Yeah, for all the Georgia quarterbacks who couldn't quite get it done, who couldn't get that national championship, they are pleased for this man. The trophy presentation coming up from Indy as the legend meets the current coach.
The Ram Trucks postgame is brought to you by Ram Trucks, J.D. Power's #1 brand in new vehicle quality, and Allstate. Save money like a champion with Allstate.
Some people say if you want to see America.
Welcome back to the Ram Trucks postgame. A tradition in Athens, Georgia. Ring the chapel bell after a big victory. There have been none bigger in the last 4 decades. You can tell the party just beginning there. Well, coaches who win a championship for their alma maters, it's extra special, isn't it?
Oh, wow.
All SEC defensive back. Georgia. There he is, making plays. He had 13 career picks in the late 90s.
Man. Absolutely. He was a great player, great safety.
Had a cup of coffee here with the Colts in training camp, but he joined Shook Jordan in Auburn. Of course, Paul Bryant won 6 titles at his alma mater. Steve Spurrier got it done. A couple of years after that, Phil Fulmer. And now it's been a while. It's been 23 seasons.
Look at that. I'm so happy for Kirby and this Georgia fan base. They're so passionate, so loyal to their team, and have been waiting 41 years to be able to walk up on that podium and hold that trophy up and win the national title.
Always linked to Saban, learned so much from him, and finally overcomes him to win the national championship. And Georgia has been full of belief for a long time that this is possible. I mean, the state produces as much talent as anybody. You go back to the last NFL draft, more natives of Georgia than just about any state out there.
Yeah, he's done a great job recruiting, great job developing and building a culture. These guys, in the world that we live in, with name, image, and likeness and transfer portal, this team, laser focus on one thing: avenging that loss in Atlanta and winning a championship and getting on that podium. That's it. And that's what you really have to appreciate. And a lot of that comes from the leadership from your seniors and your juniors, the guys that have been around. And they were fortunate to have a lot of those kind of players. But there is a culture here that's unique. Alabama has a very similar culture. And it's not by accident these two teams ended up playing tonight for the championship.
Yeah, early in the season, you had to sit down. Connection. They talked about connection.
Yep.
Beyond the obvious talent, the 4s and 5 stars out there, the intangibles, things like that, the love they have for each other, it goes a long way, and it all came to bear tonight when they were behind in the fourth quarter.
What you just said is so right. I mean, the fumble that we thought was an incompletion, turns out it was a fumble, and a recovery for Alabama. They get their only touchdown after that, and from that point on, that connection you're talking about, those intangibles were on full display. They came right out and answered the call. Get a 3 and out. It was like an avalanche there after that turnover.
And Kirk, on so many levels, it's satisfying. Look, you win a trophy, that's good enough, but the way you did it, the pass rush after Bryce Young, there's so much criticism in the game in Atlanta. They didn't get after him. They didn't blitz. Check that box. The offense was physical after halftime, and the pick 6, which began the season, it was a pick 6 that was decisive in an opener against Clemson, seals it at the other end. Sports Center will have much more coverage. John Anderson and Michael Eaves. Plenty of the highlights, post-game reaction. Kirby Smart will join the show. First look at the odds for next season. I'm guessing that both of these teams will figure prominently in that. But it's the Dogs who are going to light up the victory cigars tonight once they unwrap them. The trophy be handed out. Reese Davis on the podium.
What a tremendous game tonight. Congratulations to Alabama on a great season. But this is a night for the Georgia Bulldogs after a long, long wait. And now to present the National Championship Trophy to the Dogs is the College Football Playoff Executive Director, Mr. Bill Hancock. Bill.
Thank you, Reese. I want to join you in congratulating Alabama on a great season. And now it's my privilege to present, on behalf of the conferences and schools that manage the College Football Playoff, the National Championship Trophy to Coach Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs.
I gotta know, what does that trophy taste like?
Well, I didn't get a full taste, but I can tell you this. There's going to be some property torn up in Indianapolis tonight, baby!
Paraphrasing the great Larry Munson with that one. A few minutes ago, right before you came up, you said finally. You've had to try to keep your team in the right frame of mind to scale this mountain. What's the cathartic moment like to finally get to the top for you?
It's surreal. Look at these fans and the people that traveled, that came up here with confidence that we were going to take this thing over. I can't tell you how many people reached out to me and believed. And you know who really believed? All these men right here. We told them before the game, we're burning the boats. The only way home is through them. And that's the only way you're getting home, and they did it.
For the moment when the ball was in the air, before Keeley picked it off, Keeley Ringo, and had the pick 6, what was that moment? What did you see in front of you?
Actually, I saw about 1,000 drills we did during the year playing the ball with Keeley, and I knew he was going to catch it. I didn't know he was going to run it back, but I knew he was going to catch it, and what a big play and a big moment.
First time since the 1980 season, Georgia is national champion. Kirby, congratulations.
Thank you.
And now, these Dogs have had some moments, and let's find the offensive player of the game, Stetson Bennett. Munson 2 for 2 on Offensive Player of the Game. When they went ahead after the turnover, what changed for you mentally in that moment?
You know, defense played such a great game all game. I wasn't going to be the reason that we lost this game. And we just went out there and we executed. Our boys made plays. AD went up over the top. You know, they had to tackle Jermaine right there so he wouldn't score. And, it was awesome.
You've believed in yourself. You've stuck with it. You laid it out. It was all or nothing for you in this game. So now that you've reached the summit, what's this like for you?
I mean, I have no idea. I can't describe it. I love these guys. I have no words, man. These are the greatest fans in the world. This is the greatest team in the world. I love everything about this place.
You envisioned this a lot of times as a kid. How does the actual moment compare to the way you dreamt it would be?
Well, I mean, I cried, so, I mean, pretty good.
When's the last time you cried before then?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Well, shed the tears if you want to. Smoke them if you got them, my friend. Congratulations, Stetson, national champion and the offensive MVP. The defensive player of the game, and what a performance from this defense, which has been elite all year. Lewis Seen. Lewis, congratulations. What was the significance of being able to stop them in the red zone, keep them out of the end zone for as often as you did?
I feel like all these things are basically things we practice every day, day in and day out. So it was basically a routine. The goal was not to beat ourselves. It did basically just execute.
Tell me what you saw on the game clinching play when Keeley had the pick six.
I just saw the ball in his hands, and that was all she wrote. And I basically went and celebrated with my team.
This defense has been talked about as being one of the best in the modern era of college football. After this performance tonight in a national championship, where does this defense rank? Well, how should it be evaluated?
I think our defense is definitely in the history books for what we've done all year round. You know, credit to the coaches, credit to the players, all the guys that we did this with. So we definitely made the history books.
Lewis Seen, defensive player of the game. Congratulations. Dogs, national champions. And I guess, Chris, to join in what Kirby said and quoting the great Larry Munson, there might be some property torn up and the Dogs hunkered down one more time for a national championship.
Reese, I fear for Athens, Georgia, which is a beautiful town, but this is a celebration long time in the making. A lot of heartbreak, a lot of tears of sadness, giving way to tears of joy tonight. It's frigid here in Indy. The fans haven't spent much time outside. Goodyear providing the aerial coverage over top of the city to reach the end zone. All you need is drive. Goodyear more driven. But something tells me those Georgia fans won't care how cold it is as they spill out of Lucas Oil on a night never to be forgotten.
Who said it's cold?
Saban denied his 8th national championship. In the 6 times they played in the CFP curve, there's a pattern. Win-loss, win-loss, win, and loss. They're 3-3 in these CFP championship games. And let's hear from Saban with Holly.
Coach, tell me how the injury to Jamison Williams really impacted you in this game.
Well, I think it's a cumulative effect of all the injuries that we had, whether it was Mechie, Josh Jobe, I mean, you know, Jalen Armour-Davis. We've had a lot of guys that, you know, were critical parts of this team that, you know, didn't participate in this game. But, look, I'm extremely proud of this team. This team won the SEC championship, beat Georgia to do it. Obviously, they beat us today. I hate it that having such a great season, accomplishing so much, overcoming so much as a team, that we, you know, didn't finish the 4th quarter better than we did. So it's disappointing, and I know they're disappointed, but I'm really proud of this group. They overcame a lot to get here, and they played a really good game today. We just didn't finish in the 4th quarter.
When you look across the sideline and see Kirby Smart, one of your longest tenured assistants, somebody who grew up underneath you, how do you think of this game and this win for him?
Well, I'm you know, proud of Kirby. I'm proud of the program that he's built. He's done an outstanding job, you know, with his team. They played great. They've probably been the most consistent team all year long. We did a really good job, you know, in the SEC championship game. Nobody can take that away from these kids, and I'm proud of them for what they were able to accomplish.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Saban's right. They have been the most consistent team. Many people felt the best team if only they could avoid the mistakes and overcome whatever mental obstacles there were about facing Alabama. Did all of it tonight.
Yeah, just love to see this, man. You work all year. There's Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator, who's upstairs, so they didn't see each other other than at halftime, face-to-face, and finally getting together. They accomplished so much. Todd Monken believed in him. He got a lot of questions. Why isn't JT Daniels the guy? And he kept believing that 13 was the right guy because of his mobility. He was the right fit. How fitting to see that conversation after winning the championship.
Yeah, Monken and Smart said it 1,000 times. Gives us the best chance to win. And they do win tonight. Well, what a great punctuation of this season. Thanks to Bill Lamagna here in the booth, to Chris Felica, of course, for Molly McGrath and Holly Rowe, working great job down on the sidelines. Darren Brown, Mike Black, Mark Amento here in the booth. John, Gary, and everybody on our crew. So proud to bring you this championship game. Georgia wins it 33-15. Much more coverage coming up right now on SportsCenter.
This is SportsCenter.
It took 41 years and 514